All right. Hi, guys. Drew, you must be under my account. So a little different today. I'm trying something new. We're just going to try it. So I am dual streaming. Okay, so I'm on YouTube. I'm also on Twitch. So, hey, guys. Good morning. Seth, Punish, Cheat, Rachi? Rachi? So you guys don't have to be in both, but you'll be able to read both chat because I have the chat above me. So you can see if they're from Twitch or if they're from YouTube. This is the first time we've done this, so we're just going to kind of see how it goes. But if you have a preference and you do have a Twitch account and a YouTube account and like you're on one and not the other and prefer one, you can go over there to watch the stream instead. So like I said, it'll be a little different. We're going to try it out. We'll just see if we like it or whatnot. But yeah. Best, hello, Taylor. Good morning, good morning. It's me. Oh my gosh, Miz, it's you? Oh my gosh. See, Miz is already over there. Multi-platform streaming. Yeah, because like it's not a problem anymore, right? Like so Twitch opened that up and YouTube never, I don't think ever cared. But we're going to try it. But that way you guys, like I said, you guys can all, like when I'm answering somebody like on Twitch opposed to on YouTube, you guys can follow along. It should be okay. Let's give it a try. My turn to complain. What the heck? YouTube chat seems really delayed. Yep, I found you. Well, like I said, we'll just see how it goes. Anyways, guys, good morning, Links. Is there not a video over here, or do I just not know how to use Twitch anymore? I'm multi-streaming right now, Links, so we're checking it out. Good morning, Rotten. Okay, so we're here to talk about the latest episode, which aired Friday. So I know it's been some time, so hopefully you guys remember what happened. I don't know how you'd forget. So if you haven't seen the episode, obviously there will be tons of spoilers in here. We're not going to live watch it, but we are going to chat about all the details of it, and as well as what happens in the game, hopefully up until this point. As a group, we're going to do our best not to talk about the things that happen in the future so we don't spoil the show for others and like the overall storyline. But yeah, just be ready for that. YouTube messed up your stream? There's no video on the Twitch side. There's no video on the Twitch side. Really? Or there's no video on the YouTube side? Drew, you should log into your account. Everything's working. I see both. I'm on Twitch on my left, YouTube on my right. I see both active at the same time. So I don't know what's going on. Here's the thing, Kat. I get why there's no children infected in the game. Right? Like let's just start here. Just refresh, see if that works. Gee, go play IT Hero. I can't see the video on Twitch. I see it. How come you don't see it? All right. Like I said, guys, this is going to be, we're just trying it out, okay? We're just going to try it out. No one panic, okay? Anyway, so we're going to chat. This episode opened up with Kansas City, and they scared me so bad. It was, we'll get there. It's just her offline splash. Reload. I see me streaming. Drew, you should log into your account, make sure it's working for others and not just us. But anyways, so they start us up in Kansas City right when the revolt happened and they overtook Fedra. And it was actually really violent, right? The youngest infected we see are the stalkers in the sewers in The Last of Us 1, I guess. The stalkers. Those ones are young? Yeah, I mean, I always just took them all as adults. It works for Miz, that's true. Hey, Drew, do you mind switching accounts, though? That's pretty much Casey last night after the game. I was going to make that joke. Right? Like, total chaos in the streets. No, but it's actually really violent. But what's interesting here, right, is they're yelling like freedom, freedom, freedom. So they obviously think they did the right thing. We did learn that Fedra was a terror, like in Kansas City specifically, like they had a reputation of being one of the worst Fedra bases. So it's not surprising that they were overturned, even if it took like 20 years. Hey, Tony. Love multitasking. I'm wondering if it's issue with already having had the YouTube stream open. I'm not sure. Twitch's black screen. I don't know if it was on my end. So I'm getting both. I'm hearing that some people see it just fine. I'm hearing that other people don't see it, which is interesting. Also, hello, Carmel. But yeah. And the YouTube chat is slower. Interesting. Let me see if it's actually on that side. Hey, Bess, thanks for the follow as well. Okay, so yeah, killing KC or killing City. So they know that it was like one of the worst places, for the quarantine zone, and it's just wild. Like all these people screaming in the streets as they're like torturing and murdering these Fedra agents, and they all think that they're just like doing the right thing, you know? I'll go back to YouTube then. Yeah, sorry. Like I said, we're just trying it out. We'll see how it goes. It's slower on YouTube. They say Killing City, don't they? I think they say that or something. When Joel and Henry are talking. Just a pick on Twitch. Interesting. It's weird that it's working for some and not others. I wonder if there's something if you have both open. Okay, but let's talk about this episode. And so they're yelling freedom, and it's really violent. Like they are. Let me see if I got this going on here. Hold on. There we go. Like this is a Fedra agent. They, hit him to the ground. They're like throwing bottles at their heads. They're shooting them. They're stabbing them. They're taking their gear. So it's kind of like, I get why they're doing this. They did it to them. So this is them getting their revenge and doing it to the Fedra agents instead. But you kind of like cross this line of, you didn't like how they did that, but you're going to act the same and do the same thing to them, which is, that's up to you of whether or not that's okay. We should all know how episode 5 was going to hit us after episode 3. It was called the happy episode, right? That's true. Casey people and people in that are in the worst, the documentary. Oh, wait, I missed it. Overthrowing the Fedra was a graphic part. Not too graphic, but graphic enough for my taste. It was pretty graphic. Like if you actually like watch some of these scenes, it's pretty bad. This one, this scene was really bad. Wasn't easy to get like a good shot of this, but if you watch it, it's much clearer what's happening. When you're in the game, right, and you're going through these zones, you see like people hanging from like the lampposts and all over the city. And hey, babe. Props to the stunt and makeup team, always in this. So far, they're doing a great job. It's okay, though. Nice experiment. Very interesting. You mean the double stream? How come I am not seeing? It's just, okay, yeah. I find it funny how much people hate Kathleen. Yeah, we'll talk about her. Anyways, I want to talk about this one little clip here. So you actually see in the reflection of the Fedra window, you actually see them hanging someone. Like you see him kicking and they're lifting him up. And I just thought it was good cinematography. Really nice. Did everybody switch back over to YouTube is pretty much what happened? Is that what I'm getting at? Okay, let me see here. Okay. And then yeah, so they're yelling that Kansas City belongs to the people, and they're like so proud of themselves, and they did such great things, and they're the good guys getting control all of a sudden, right? That's the mentality. The good guys have control, but in reality, it's pretty much like you have one bad group taking over another bad group. I'm on both. Oh, okay. We'll get to her. We will totally get to her. Don't worry. We're gonna talk about Kathleen a lot in this. So. I'm standing my ground. Less video spoilers on this side. What? Anyways, I like seeing this riot scene. This is why I was like, this scene was crazy graphic, because we have stuff like this, which was just insane in my opinion. But this actually reminded me a lot of, if you played the game, there was like a partial person, like a torso, literally strapped to the front of their vehicles with like the run like graffiti on it. So I think this was kind of like the equivalent to that, like how bad it actually was, how violent they were. Look at that huge waste of knives. You guys did make that joke. It's so funny. I mean, it's not funny. Like, okay, it is. But, like, it's so violent. But at the same time, it's like, those are valuable. They probably collected them afterwards. Let's be honest. I was born YouTube. I am YouTube. Oh, gosh. I tend to like Twitch streams the best. Yeah, like I said, if we'll figure it out. Trial and error. We'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes. The scene was bananas. It was wild. But like I said, like, they didn't make, in my opinion, they didn't make this scene more graphic in the show than it was in the game. It's just we weren't there live when it happened. Like, all these, like, crumbs of what had happened in that city were there for the gamer when they were going through. Like, we saw the hanging bodies. We saw the body on the truck. Like, it was insane. So seeing it live is just the difference here, which is pretty gruesome. Everyone is a bad guy in apocalypse world, right? That's like a really good question, though. Like, can you be a good person in the apocalypse? Like, the only way you can is almost like isolating like Frank and Bill did and just like mind your own business at that point, right? Like, how do you even be a good person in the apocalypse? Gotta save all the shivs. It's true. Anyways, okay. So here we're introduced again to Kathleen for this episode. And she has rounded up all of the collaborators, or the people that pretty much sold out their neighbors or these people to Fedra to benefit themselves in some way. And this is always like brings up the question of like, would you do that? Should they have done it? Do you understand? Like, could you be understanding if somebody did that? But it's one of those gray areas, and I mean, are they the bad guys? And Henry talks about this later, but it's a hard like thing to answer just black and white. What side would you be on, Kat? Fedra or the Resistance? Oh my gosh, neither. I would hate this Well, okay, so here's the thing. The Resistance sounded great when her brother was in charge, right? Everyone needs the mentality. Everyone is kind of terrible in the apocalypse, right, Ms.? Yeah. I get more points over here, too. And oh, yeah, the exercise thing. Those aren't happening links. I forgot to get rid of those. The rats, yes. They're called the rats. Gotta keep, yeah. For real life apocalypse hits, too. No. My favorite quote from The Expanse is from Amos. And he says, if you take civilization away, then people on civil and vice versa. Yeah. I don't know if I can call Bill and Frank good guys. They hoarded everything for themselves. That's kind of terrible. I mean, did they hoard everything for themselves, or did he just like, these are my things, I have access to them, I'm not going to go like actively out of my comfort zone to pass them out? Because like when Frank arrived, he very much did give him stuff. Like he was a good host. Like he did feed him. And that was before he knew anything about Frank, whether or not Frank was staying, whether or not like Frank was like, he was interested in Frank. So I don't know. I think that's like kind of we'll never know the answer to that, but people won't be civil. Okay. Yeah, I got it, Dan. Choose one. I will choose. I would probably choose a Resistance. Unfortunately, because if Fedra was like, when Henry's talking about it, Henry's saying like, you know, they would do the same thing: torture, rape, murder, all sorts of things, right? At least when her brother was in charge, there was a little bit of hope. Now with her in charge, though, like it's like, it's not even a Resistance anymore. It's just some lady that wants to get her revenge. I'm just saying, from outside looking in, Bill being a hoarder also makes him a villain in someone's story. But hoarding it from who? If he was hoarding it from his own town, like if they didn't like grab everybody from that town and like bring them elsewhere, I think that'd be a really good like argument, saying that he was keeping it from the people in that town. But nobody was left in that town, and like who knows where, like how far civilization was from that town. So I don't know. I think like not actively going out and like, here, let me help is different than being a villain of like, I have food, I'm literally not going to give it to my neighbor. I fear women already, and we're not even in the apocalypse. So Marlene, this is most unintimidating speech I've ever seen. Well, okay, so it's not intimidating, but it is in a way because she talks to them like children, which I think is very intentional, right? She's like, did that make you feel better? Like, and like that attitude, it's like, are you proud of yourselves? Now, you can get trial because lucky for you, we're not Fedra. Like, it's like she's talking like a child. Because when you're talking to someone like a child, that automatically puts you in charge because you're the mature adult in the situation. So I think that's her, like, weird way of showing power. There are no one around for Bill to be denying. He gave Tess and Joel... Exactly, yeah. Like, that's why I was like, I don't know if he's a villain, really. Like, I mean, he's not actively a hero. Oh, I have received 100... Okay. It lets... Restream tells me these fun things. Sam went from a teenager in the game to a child in the show who's deaf in real life. I thought he would talk. He's only 10 years old. Sam went... Who's deaf in real life. I thought he would talk. He's only 10 years old. We're getting off track for stream, but maybe we can talk about it more in DMs and Discord because I don't know what happens in April. I didn't follow that one either. I love that Kathleen kind of like Tess was the only one in control and had tons of power without really having to really scream and shout at everyone. Huh. I can see both sides of the fence. The big brother and the lady, they were both looking out for their own. No. She wasn't looking out for her own, though, in my opinion. She was looking out for her brother. Hi. Oh, no. Get out of here. Okay, so let's keep going. I need to talk to you guys about Perry because Perry I find very interesting. So there's so many little moments right in this scene and like the scene that follows right after this where I thought Perry was questioning her. And I was like, Perry is totally not along with her on this. Like, he doesn't like this. But then I was proven wrong later on down the road. So I'm curious what you guys have to say about Perry. But what is interesting is, like, he's very military, in my opinion, and, like, Twitch spam, I know. Like, so he very much follows the rules of whoever's in charge, that's who you take orders from. You don't really argue at that kind of a thing. Do you mean Tommy? Kinda. Do I like her in 2.5 Men? I didn't really watch 2.5 Men. However, I did watch her little interview. I've seen a little bit of her in that. But I did watch her at the end of this. You can tell she doesn't like this character either, which is absolutely fine. She plays the character very well. But she doesn't like what the character does. She's like, nah, she's never going to find peace. She's made poor decisions. Like, I like that. That beard. He does have a good beard. Is Perry the old guy? Yeah, Perry's this guy here. That's his name in this show. The reason we're calling him Tommy is because he's the voice actor for Tommy in the games, which is Joel's brother. I thought Perry was going to Starscream, but he's more of a soldier than I thought. I totally know what you mean by Starscream. Yeah, chain of command, exactly. Perry's a soldier, doesn't like to agree with the plans, but follows orders. Exactly. That's how I kind of took it. So she obviously says this in front of them to kind of get them to talk, which one of them eventually does talk. And we learn about Edelstein, who is the doctor, right? So that's how she was able to track down the doctor, which we saw in the previous episode when she had him in the shipping crate. She's a perfect villain and ended up paying for her crimes, which it seems to happen in the Last of Us world. Well, everybody kind of pays for crimes, whether they deserve it or not. I love how the voice actors are in the show, too. It's like one of those things, like, they have to be part of it. I think it's really great. If my beard was like that, I would dye it. What color? It's so nice when it's, like, white peppery like that, though. Okay, so this obviously freaks him out, and she gets one of them to talk. And what we did learn, which I didn't know, is I thought the doctor was working for Fedra, but he wasn't. He was among this group, these people, and he was a collaborator. So, and she says that. She's like, well, he did a hell of a better job than you guys did. I think that's what they were saying. Maybe he didn't actually work for Fedra, but he definitely was helping Henry and such. He worships her. See, this is what I was wondering, John. Is there a thing between these two? Silverbeard's agree. I agree. That's what I'm wondering. I can't tell. Okay. Does that throw people off hearing a different voice in a character? It didn't throw us off. It was just really exciting. Because, like, we know, like, a lot of the voice actors can't play their own character. The only person that is Marlene. And it's just because, like, visually they don't really fit the characters that they, like, if Joel was played by his voice actor, it would be really odd. Like, he just doesn't look like Joel, unfortunately. It was just exciting, yeah. Okay, so she gets the information, and I want to know what you guys think when she says this. So when he's like, yeah, he said he would help Henry and Sam if things got bad, and she's like, but things have gone great, haven't you heard? And I can't tell if she's being sarcastic here or if she legitimately is like, you guys don't think this is better? Because it was an interesting way that she said it. Let's not think about a relationship. I don't want any flashbacks to her character again. Are that two characters in the game? So Perry and Kathleen are not in the game. No. Kat, I have just for men beard, and I have a few gray hairs on a goatee. I'm 33 years old, and I don't want no gray on my beard. When it turns gray, I dye it. Oh, I feel like you would. I feel like you could get away with either. I have no problem with, like, gray beards. I think they look nice. Tommy would be a great Tommy. He's too young. He's not, like, worn looking. I know he could dye his hair. He's a guy who has, like, blonde hair and, like, blue eyes. But, like, I don't know. Oh, Tommy, though. You think this Tommy would have been a good Tommy? I think he would have been okay. Sorry, I was thinking of Joel. Hi, John. I can't even grow a beard, and I'm 35. Dude, let's be honest, though. I don't think Pedro Pascal can grow a beard. Because Joel has a nice beard in the game. And, like, Pedro has an okay beard. But I don't think he can grow a Joel beard. Hey, John, thanks for subscribing. I don't know. Kathleen might be kind of confessing with that phrase because they're really maybe I like that. I like that answer. Yeah, it sounded weird. Like she's like it sounded sarcastic. Like, haven't you heard? Everything is better. Yeah. When you have kids, your beard just instantly turns gray. I wanted the Prince Charming. Yeah, there was like a tease on that he was gonna play Joel. You think she's being sarcastic because her brother's death is what leads to the successful overthrow of Fedra? It feels like yeah, I think so too. Okay, so this was another time where Perry like kind of questioned her. Like he kind of looked at her when she's like, kill them, and then he kind of looked at her when she's like, we're giving him a trial, and then like he kind of questions her here when she's like, okay, spread out, look for Henry now, and he's like, now, and she's like, I'm sorry, and there's this sarcastic talking to you like a child thing again. Where she says, maybe we should give him a little bit of time. Couple of hours, a day. Oh, let's give him a month. And she's like being super rude and sarcastic again. And like she points out again that Henry is not her like seventh priority, I think she says. Henry's her first priority. So again, she really doesn't care about this resistance. She doesn't have the same motivation that her brother does. She literally, her only motivation is to kill the man I almost said kid, but he is a man, to kill the man that killed her brother. And that's like it. Oh, from Pittsburgh? Let me see something real quick. So in the game, Henry and Sam are not wanted by the resistance. So in the game, Henry and Sam are being chased down. You meet Henry and Sam, and it's not the resistance. It's kind of weird. It's in Pittsburgh. The group are known as hunters, and they're kind of just like a crazy group of people that did overthrow Fedra. However, they just kind of like murder and take things that they need from people. So if you're not one of them, you pretty much will be murdered. And so Sam and Henry in the game are not wanted for like any type of he didn't tell on her brother, and that wasn't a thing that existed, but they are running. They want out. They want out of that city. You do find them, but it's nothing to do with this resistance thing. Does Pedro play any roles where he doesn't have to drag a kid around the whole show? Hilarious. Lynx, it's funny you mentioned that, because when they were doing the, not interviews, what is it called for an actor? It's not an interview. When they were doing that was actually a concern. They thought it was too similar. They didn't want people to be like, oh, Ellie's like Baby Yoda. They actually thought about that, and they're like, but he just fits the part so well, so they picked him anyways. And he was also in Game of Thrones, that's right. Which makes her a terrible leader, and why they only last a week and a half, right? Like, that's a good point, Seth. They do only last a week and a half. Yeah, they're kind of hiding from the hunters like everybody else in the game. She massively overestimates how resourceful Henry is, either deliberately so that she can get rid of him more quickly, or so she can hate them more. Casting. Not a casting. What is it like when you actually like go and you do like a bit in front? It's not an interview. Audition. During the audition, that's what he was like, oh, I don't want Ellie to be looked at as a Baby Yoda. I don't know, if I were Perry, I would have just taken out Kathleen. That's why I wonder if something, so either it's just like his military training and background here, or I think there's like a weird thing where I think they might have a little connection, or at least on his end. Like he might have actually had a thing for Kathleen at one point. Yeah, audition. So I figured it out. In order to have the Twitch streams work, we need you to lessen our bit rate. YouTube, on the other hand, is fine with the high. Oh, okay. Auditions. Thank you guys. Your brain works better. So yeah. Let's keep moving forward here. And then like she should like, and he doesn't even know what kind of a leader she is yet, which I find interesting. So he's like, are we really gonna let them live? And she's like, no, just kill them and then burn the bodies. It's faster. Like she does not care. She doesn't, it's not funny, but like for how much she's like, they killed my brother. That's so wrong. That's so terrible. I want revenge. She's totally fine killing all these other brothers, all these other fathers, it doesn't matter. At this point, she is so far gone. Like, she's so broken. She's just like, yeah, just kill them. Like, and it doesn't even, like, bother her in any way, right? Wait, what? Casting so far is amazing, except for whose name shall not mention. Exactly. I spit my drink on a desk. I laugh way too hard at you calling Ellie Baby Yoda. Ellie Yoda. No. Affiliates on Swiss, are still limited to 6K. That's right. I think Kathleen has respect, kind of like the result of being Mike's family. Oh, like maybe he was a big follower for Mike, her brother, and then was like, I'll do whatever I can for your family. Bye, babe. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow. Should I just end stream then on Twitch? Hi, waifu. So you think Perry and Kathleen are just kind of mimicking Tess and Joel's situation? I could definitely see it. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of couples mirroring in this. I've never thought of that. Maybe. Oh, which is probably the body pile we see Joel. But Seth, I bet you're right, because those seem like super fresh, right? And they didn't have like, yeah, maybe those were the collaborators. Kids die every day. Oh my gosh, that line. We'll get there. I don't feel like this baby woman would have survived the initial outbreak. This baby woman. She didn't. Well, no, she did. She's like 30 something, so she did. Yeah. But she had her brother. Like, that's the whole thing. Her brother took care of her. I'm still on both. Drew, I'll let you tell me if I should end the Twitch one. Okay, so then we get to see how Henry and Sam actually ended up in this attic, why they were able to hang out here for like a good week and a half. We learned that the doctor helped them out, and it's really cool. I like this because you get to see how, we knew that they were hiding out here for a while because of all the artwork, but I like to see how they got it, how they knew it would be safe, and like kind of Henry really learning the most he could about like the patrols and how this new resistance group was going to work. I'm actually kind of, okay. She's either aware that she's broken and plays along with it, or is truly broken and doesn't realize. No, I think she knows she's broken. That's why, like, the conversation she has with Henry when he's hiding behind the car, and like I said, we'll get there, she totally knows. She's like, I know why you did it. Like, and she just doesn't care. She just doesn't care, because in her mind, her brother is more important than his brother. That's it. That's all that matters to her. In her world, in her head, her brother was more important. So everybody else can just go die now. Just go on. It doesn't matter right now. You can see the broadcast if you look past videos. Okay. All right. That is weird. Okay. So then we learn exactly how much food they have. We learn that they're out of ammo, which is kind of interesting because I didn't realize when they were holding the guns up to Ellie and Joel that they were empty. Like, just cool, interesting stuff like that. Yeah. This one, I wanted to highlight this little scene because, okay, well, first off, oh gosh, Sam is so freaking adorable. And I hate what happens in this story. But I can't believe Henry gave this old man up. Don't tell Sam the doctor is... No, I think... Oh, I'll get there. I think it's actually really important that he's honest like that with Sam. Yeah, what they were up to before they ran into Joel and Ellie. And how he keeps Sam, like, kind of shielded and protected from stuff. So what's kind of interesting is because Sam is deaf, which is different than the game, right? Like, so I didn't even mention this, but most of us already know that. Sam isn't deaf in the game. And Sam's also a lot older in the game. I think Sam's like closer to Ellie's age in the game. I can't remember. Someone mentioned, I asked and somebody actually told me the answer. I want to say he's like 11. In this, he's only 8. Which is, it's fine. It doesn't really, I don't think it makes a difference really. But in the game, when we're with Henry and Sam, Henry has a much different attitude towards things like this. And he has a huge bag of crayons here. But when we're in the game, Sam, being a kid, wanted to grab a little figurine, like a little robot figurine, to which he said, no, we're not taking that. We only take what we need. And so I just really like this change in Henry here. I like how Henry has a crazy heavy full bag of crayons because it isn't something they need, but it is something he needs to protect Sam's childhood, his sanity, and his, like, innocence. So I like that. The doctor doesn't die. He just regenerates. Spoilers. They did such a great job. I know. I hate it. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. Sam is 12. Okay, so Sam is 12 in the game, which is way different than in this. 11 or 12 in the game, and he's only 8 here. So, I mean, that's one of those changes where it's like, that change could have just been because they were looking for a boy that fit all these, like an actor that could fit all these things that Sam is, right? Like, so maybe he just did the best job and he was 8 years old and they were like, okay, we'll make him 8. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. I just think it was a little different because when Ellie and him were together, it was a little bit more of like, she was still friends with him, but there was a little less closeness there. And in the game, when I first met Sam, before I knew about Ellie, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but before I knew more about Ellie, I thought maybe that even Sam could have been somebody she was like interested in romantically, because like they were around the same age. Obviously, I learned later on that isn't the case, but like in this, that isn't even an option. Ah, cheat! Thank you so much for the donation, sir. Mighty kind. On the figure part, I wish Ellie kept the memento for future reference. Oh yeah, like in the show, you wish she had something like like if she would have kept the writing thing that he had, that would have been cool. His attitude towards Sam is softer in the game. Yes, in the game he's way more like survival training. So. Me too. When Ellie says oh yeah, she's like, I'm 14. He's like, me too, or something. I kind of remember that too. And then his brother's like, oh really? That's right. He laughs. Yeah, I kept the board thing. That would have been a good idea, Miz. I'm kind of sad they did it now. Their parents must have died recently because Henry is still learning how to parent and care for Sam. Yeah, and you know what's crazy about this is... Hi, John. John just keeps saying hi. Hello. Sam, like Ellie, hasn't Okay, so two things. Sam, like Ellie, hasn't known the world pre-outbreak, which is, it's just wild that there's kids like that now, right? But on the other side of that, which I think is super interesting, is Sam has probably never seen or encountered, maybe not even really learned about, the infected. Because if Kansas City ended up, like they said 15 years ago, Kansas City pushed them all underground and just like locked them in there. Like they live underground. We're just going to pretend that's not our problem anymore. So Sam has at least never encountered an infected. He probably knows about them, obviously, but he's never encountered them. We need a memento for season 2. Yes. No. Sam and Ellie do not have a romance relationship. No, they didn't best. But when I played it, like when they first met, they're really cute together. They're talking a lot. They're just really sweet. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if like they end up like going like I hadn't played it yet, right? So I was like, if they travel together, they become really good friends, and then maybe they like when they're older they date. Like that was going on in my head. Which I can't even tell you, like there's so many reasons why that wouldn't happen. But then obviously like you play more and the same result happens in the game as it does here, which is awful. But I thought they were zombies. Get out of here. No cheat. We need an important memento for season 2 to break our hearts before everything happens. I know. Sam would be pretty oblivious, right? Like it's just crazy. Anyways. So we get this like 10 days later, and we get like the passage of time with all the artwork, which is super cute. I love this superhero like thing. When I saw the trailer and I saw his like painted on mask, I was like, what is this about? Like, what are they doing with Sam here? And I love what they did. I think it's really sweet. They kind of give Sam this like confidence that's from Henry with the superhero idea and the theme. And like, you could tell that Sam just wants to be able, I think Sam is aware of how much Henry is protecting him, and I think Sam wishes that he could do more to protect Henry. And the reason why I say that too is not just because he draws himself as a superhero as well. Like in some of these pictures, you actually see him like protecting Henry. But and then we go to this. But like this right here, when he learns that the doctor is dead, Sam is sad, but he's not like, he doesn't like completely break down. He actually looks at his brother and then he initiates the hug to his brother. Like, I can't help in many ways, but like I'm gonna at least comfort you here. It's not Henry comforting Sam. Like it kind of works that way, but it's mostly Sam comforting Henry, which I liked that a lot. But that was my take on it. Sam and Ellie would have only ever been friends. I hope we see Riley soon so people can figure out. Yeah, right. When is that scene going to happen? Like, we're trying not to give away too much from like what's going to happen in the future. But I would love to get those Riley scenes. I think they actually might play them at you remember the DLC part? I think it might happen during that time in this. That's what I think. If Ellie bit someone, do they get infected? No, that was a concern, but they did answer that. Yes. In part 2, they say that she can't infect somebody. Can't, right? Yeah, I mean, for life. Okay. I gave the show another shot last night. I would like to point out this show got a lot better when it turned back into a post-apocalypse and not a Nicholas Sparks story. You're in the wrong chat here, Links. Okay, so then I really like this because this scene, so it's been 10 days, and obviously Henry has been watching the patrols, like he said, in the city, trying to figure out how the heck they're going to get out of here. The doctor hasn't come back in like over 24 hours, I think, and it's a concern. But he's really trying to monitor look how many there are is my concern. Like, I don't know if something just happened here. Like maybe somebody else came in the city and this is another one of those, hey, let's kill, like a hunter part. Let's kill them. Let's get their stuff, whatever. Or if they just patrol this heavily or they're specifically looking for them. But regardless, there's just way too many of them and it sucks. Think they'll show flashbacks chronologically. Yeah, that's what I think so. Yeah. Between Colorado and the rabbit. There's this video where 2 streamers react to the rabbit scene. Like this girl's like a mess and then the rabbit, this is not really a spoiler, but a rabbit gets shot. And she's like, ah! She just breaks down. And then they show XQC, who, if you don't know, is a very popular streamer. He used to play a lot of Overwatch. Watch that scene, and he just starts laughing. And, like, the comparison of those two was hilarious to me. Remind me, I'll post it in Discord. I thought it was so funny. Oh, if you look up the episode. Oh, Steven. That's a good way to check. I want to see the DLC flashbacks already, right? Okay, so anyways, there's a ton of those guys, which is awful. We already talked about this, but this is when he says the doctor's not coming back, and they realize they have to move and get out of here. So, yeah, that's that. And like I said, I really like how Henry is honest with Sam. And this comes up multiple times. He is protecting Sam by making him feel safer and braver, but he's not protecting him by omitting information. And I like that too, because we'll see later when they're asking about the tunnels, like he actually makes Sam answer this, because I think it's important that in Henry's mind, Sam could handle, he at least has enough information that if something happened to Henry's trying to give Sam as much opportunity to be able to handle himself on his own. I think that's why he's so honest with him. I think that's why he like knows the plan and is like kind of almost quizzing him about the plan later on. And I like that honesty. Love the rabbit video. Oh, every title, the finale is available. Oh, every episode but the finale is available. XQC laughing reminds me of your flamethrower moment. Yeah, kind of like that. That's what it felt like. Infected dies, screaming horribly to fire. Cat laughs. It was like, well, I was excited to use the flamethrower for the first time, okay? Oh, Joel totally needs a flamethrower, right? Molotov cocktail. Okay, but yeah, I really do. I think Sam initiated this hug, and I think it was his way to, like, protect his brother in just a little emotional way for a short bit of time. Okay, so then they're like, we gotta move, we gotta go. So this was so cool. I love this. I love how we saw this part of this scene. So this is when he's checking to see if the coast is clear, and we just hear a crash. And I don't know about you guys, but I got super excited because I immediately knew, Joel and Ellie arrived, right? Like, I thought that was fun. I love seeing it from their perspective. We already saw it from Joel and Ellie's perspective, so we didn't need to see it again. But we do get this, like, this other viewpoint of it, which is awesome. I think this is so neat. But this is one of those moments where, like, there is initial panic, and you know that Sam can, like, feel kind of like if there's a car crash into a building, you could probably feel that. You don't need to be able to hear. Plus gunshots, I'm assuming you'd feel something a little bit if they're that close. The situation is so dire, there's nothing to gain by pretending it's fine. Exactly. It wouldn't help Sam to think it's fine. Great point. I agree, Punished. We need a brick. Where the heck is my brick scene? I swear if we get through this whole thing without a brick, I'm writing them a letter. I'm going to be so mad. I will go through my entire freaking playthrough, and I will clip every time I use a brick, and I will send it to them with a letter that's like, where is this? Yes, love the point of view switch for this part. I did too. There's Joel and Ellie. You could tell Henry was trying to figure out if Joel would be a friend. Well, no, like, it's so cool. He's just like, what is going on, right? Like, because he has this plan. He's been watching the patrol, and something like this changes the patrol, and he's like, what is this? But I love this scene because, like, he literally watches Joel, and like, as far as he knows, like, I don't even know if he saw Ellie, and it doesn't matter. There's literally one man that takes out this group, this patrol. And it's so neat because I think the previous shot that I had earlier, I think this is something similar that happened. I think somebody entered the city and they just get annihilated. So seeing this being done by one man, like, I just love Henry's initial reaction. He's like, new plan. Because if this guy can take those guys out, like, you need to be on his side, right? I loved it. I thought it was cool. Firefight in third person. Yes. This is a great storytelling, seeing the opposite perspective. This is why Craig Mazin was chosen to produce. Yeah, he's doing a really good job. Really good job. Anyone here Team Bottle? Team Bottle. I mean, as long as I have a throwable, but if I have the option, I'll pick the brick. Bottles for lure, bricks for head smash. Just because of Joel's bricks punch, right? Yes, can't make a Molotov cocktail without it. Okay, so I love this new plan thing. Like, it's super, super great. Super exciting, right? And then we get to see their perspective of them, like, finding Joel and Ellie at night. I like how we got to see that. I like how they were really aware. You know, because Joel put all that glass down, expecting the hunters. I keep calling them hunters, but I guess they're the resilient or resistance fighters or whatever you want to call them. But because those guys would be sloppy, not sloppy, but they'd come in full force. Like, they wouldn't be quiet or careful. They would just come in, right? So that glass would have helped with them. However, it's not going to help with somebody like Henry and Sam, who are literally trying to be as sneaky and as quiet as possible, just like Ellie and Joel. So they notice the glass very early on. They avoid it and avoid the sound. And then this little scene of him, like, teaching Sam to hold a gun is just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, you hate how quick these kids have to grow up in this world. Like, Sam, like Ellie, kind of just smiles. He's like, oh, cool, gun. But he's like, no, this is serious. He corrects them. He's like, this is the plan. This is what we have to do. I just liked seeing this little scene. I think it added a lot to their characters. Hey, Diaz. I like bottles in part 2, though. Fun to smash into faces. Just call them Hunter's Cat. They're all the same. I know. I'm just hoping that other people who haven't played the game know who I'm talking about. Okay, so as I just saw her hydrate, I'm totally going to drink water. Okay. So we get back to the scene. So now we're all caught up. So we saw their perspective, and now we're here. And so we get to kind of continue on with the story. This part was so great with Ellie and Joel. Would it be easier just to call the bad guys the Horde? No, the Horde are the infected in this. They literally come. They're like a horde. The bullets in the gun is definitely a gameplay add-on. Henry got 2 unloaded pistols. So yeah, like, that was really interesting to learn. So we learned that Henry really isn't any type of, well, he's a fighter, but he's not he still has a problem with killing. Like, it bothers him. He hasn't had to do it. He's now, this is new territory for him, kind of out alone trying just to threaten people. Like, that's, you can tell it's not his forte. It's not something he can do. Hydrates over on the Twitch side. ASMR, did you hear it? Sorry. It's like, sorry, Rockefeller. He was definitely playing it like the game on survivor mode with no ammo. Yeah. Sorry. So this was a risky move, but they needed to do this, right? I like, if I didn't know Joel or Ellie, like, this would have been scary because, like, they're obviously survivors and they'll just do whatever they need to do to survive. So I was actually really surprised that he put Sam in front of Henry, or I'm sorry, he put Sam in front of Joel, because if anybody's going to all of a sudden, like, flip and shoot somebody, it would be Joel. And so, like, having his little brother in front of Joel is scary. But maybe he was trying to play the whole, like, that's a child. You have a kid here. Hopefully you won't just hurt or kill a child, right? I don't know. It was a gamble for sure. You can tell Henry is visibly scared to death with the bluff. Well, and that too, I love this too. And then, like, he's like, we don't want to hurt you. We need to work together. And I think Joel right there, he goes, okay. And then Henry doesn't know what to do. He's like, okay. I mean, I think it literally is like, I'm new to this. I don't know what do we do next? Like, it's so awkward, but it's so perfect because they are new to this. This line was so good with Ellie and him. And he's just like, yeah, okay. And he's like, that's a weird effing tone, man. Because, like, he's still on edge. He's, like, still defensive, Joel. But, like, they can read that, right? And, like, I just love how Ellie's like, dude, there's literally a gun to my head. She's, like, trying to, like, excuse Joel in this moment. Like, you know, he just has an asshole voice. Sorry. I love that. It was so funny. It was a good laugh right there. He said he's not violent. He does say that, yeah. See, I corrected myself. Henry is a fighter, but in a different... He's a survivor, I guess is a way to put it. Not necessarily a fighter. He's a survivor. Tell him it's okay. We're all good. He's trying to use the whole kid thing against Joel, seeing as Joel is Ellie. That's what I was thinking, like, but that is a gamble. Excuse me. Like, it's one of those moments where it's like, don't put Sam in front of Joel. And yes, yeah, he at this point he does think that Ellie is his daughter, which is, I think that's a fair assumption. What kind of tone is that, man? Yeah, I love it. I like how she picks up on things like that, though. Like, Ellie's like, no, like, that did sound bad. Joel, don't sound that way. So they get out of the situation, and, like, all the guns are down, and, like, all the tension's down. I thought it was interesting. Like, so they're sharing, like, a little meal, which came from Bill and Frank, which Ellie just bluntly is like, oh, he's dead. But, Joel on his own gives more, I think it's some of his, like, portion. He gives it to Sam. So you do see, again, throughout this series, we're seeing little bits of, like, parts of Joel that remind you more of him pre-Sarah's death, where he does have a kind heart, especially towards kids, but it hurts so much that he doesn't like to stay there or dwell in that. He will kind of ease up every once in a while, and you'll see this kindness, but it immediately he reverts back to his survival, kind of cold exterior Joel again. Yeah. But I thought it was really sweet. I think he gave his leftover portion to Sam, and it was just, I don't know, it was so sweet. So they kind of have this chat, and when the light comes up, this was Joel and Ellie's plan, to kind of see how they can get out, because visually you're going to get the best view here and see what you can do. It's a good point that his old heart shows through the cracks via a bit of parental instinct. Yeah, I like those. Like those moments don't seem like anything when you're kind of watching, but when you think about them, they tell a lot of story with Joel's past, and I love it. Pedro Pascal once said, "The Last of Us HBO show is too short. Do you feel the rush of the episodes?" I do feel that a lot, actually. Diaz. And I'm sure Rockefeller will have stuff to say about this as well, because he's usually sides with this. But there's things that happen in the game here that I really wanted to see in the show that didn't happen. And we got through the, like, travel parts with Sam and Henry really fast in this show. And in the game, you're with them, it feels like a lot longer. Okay, they made the season longer if they wanted to. I do too. In the very first episode, you can see how he has grown numb to kids. It's why they show him throw the infected kid into the fire when the woman couldn't do it. Exactly. So I want to talk about the game a little bit here. So when you meet Henry and Sam, you do decide to kind of, like, travel with them. They get to a point when they're going through the city where the hunters, you do have to battle your way through a mob of hunters. It gets pretty bad where one of their vehicles come in. Like, one of their vehicles is kind of like, not tracking you, but you have to avoid it in certain situations. And they get so dire, and there's no time, and there's a rush where you actually get split from Henry and Sam for a short period of time. But what you learn from that split is that Henry, who's out there just like Joel is just to protect Ellie, Henry is just there to protect Sam. So while he would help Joel if it were easy and effective and efficient, he would help. But if there's any chance that helping Joel would put Sam in more danger, he's not going to. And in the game, we see that. So they have to climb over this barricade on a truck. Ellie's even with them. Joel can't get up because I think the ladder breaks or something, and then the truck is coming. So it's like they have to move. Sam and Henry go. They're like, sorry, man, can't do anything, and they leave him. Ellie doesn't leave him and jumps back down. And I think that was really important in the game to see. We don't see it in this at all, though. So that was kind of a bummer. I wanted to see that part. A 9-episode order for the series probably happened because they felt it was a risk. If they knew it would be so successful, we might have gotten, yeah, I could kind of see that too, but also not getting, it's doing fine, and I'm totally fine with this, but I think that decision is really tough because also not putting enough time and enough breathing room for the episodes could also cause it not to do well. Yeah, there's still a lot more in the game. So then you get this cool scene when you're with Ellie and Joel. You get to fight more, you know, because that's the game. Like, it's a shooting game. You shoot through a lot of the hunters, and you actually do find Henry and Sam again. And then you start going through you travel through these tunnels. But from that point, you realize that while Henry might be a good guy, he's really just there to protect Sam. So I think that was a good thing to know in the game. I think the story is so well written, it doesn't need filler for the TV show, unlike nowadays TV that is nothing but filler dialogue. The story is short for his part. Yeah. The not being able to swim hasn't been addressed since episode 2. Henry and Sam didn't get the same time Bill and Frank got. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. True, too. Yeah, so when they get separated in the game, you eventually, with Joel and Ellie, you need to run because this truck is coming for you, and your only option is to jump into this river. And it's very dangerous because we learned, as you guys already know from episode 2, like you guys were talking about, Ellie can't swim. So it's one of those, panic modes. Ellie can't swim, but that's when you meet up with Henry and Sam again. It was a big cut. Yeah, they cut out a lot there. Because other characters are being fleshed out in a positive way, except for Marlene, of course. Is David going to just be one? Oh, God, I hope not. He has to be at least 2 or 3. No, there's not enough. I don't know. Yes, I will talk about Sam being mute afterwards, if you would like. I could talk about it now. But yeah, we could talk about that. The separation worked in the game, but not having it in the show actually worked for me, given that Henry was seeking Joel out to protect him and Sam. That's true, too. That's a good point, Steven. I didn't think of it that way. I just really, what I liked from that separation is just that, I guess we know that. I guess we do learn that. We learned that in Ish's tunnel, but that Henry is literally just there to protect Sam. That's all he cares about. Henry doesn't even really care about himself. He just cares about Sam. And you're right. We do get that information in this show. So that's a really good point. But you gotta admit, that like chase scene with the truck is really exciting in the game. It would have made for a good HBO show. And the fact that Ellie follows Joel. That was a big moment. Ellie jumps down to follow Joel, even though going with Henry and Sam, which would have been much safer. I think that was an important thing to learn too. I'm still going to be salty that Tess seemed way less badass in the show. Oh, I don't know. She seemed pretty cool, but I know what you mean. I'll hold on to you when she jumps off the bridge, which was another sweet thing that connects her and Joel. Yeah, so she trusts Joel, even though she can't swim, and she follows Joel, even though he was the one in the bad situation. Well, the trailer shows that this week is Tommy in Colorado. So David, are they actually including Colorado? I didn't notice any Colorado stuff. We were talking about that might get skipped, but we'll see. I mean, not what happens in Colorado, but I thought like it might be at a different location. We'll see. There's nice views around here and less overgrown too. We still get that's true. It's not like there's a lack of truck craziness happening in this episode. You guys are making great points. The chasing in the game is sick. It is. Not decrepit and chaotic. I didn't see Colorado stuff in it either. Maybe it was just a few seconds. Maybe. I'll have to go back and look. Okay, so yeah, so we did get confirmation that still this overtake of Fedra is really recent. It's only like 10 days old. So I just, like, in the game, I think they overtook Fedra long ago. But we learned that Henry is a collaborator. And Joel's initial reaction to this, like, he hates rats too, right? Like, nobody likes a collaborator. Now, we learn later why Henry did that. And then it's all of a sudden, like, can you blame the guy? Can you hate the guy? But I like how Joel's reaction here was like, even he's like, hell no. Like, I don't work with collaborators. He's like, yeah, you do. You do work with collaborators because this is what we're doing. It was just this cool and surprising thing to see Henry ditch because you see him as pure ally, but it's refreshing to see him survivalism and priority. It is, yeah. Team Jackson, Colorado. Team Salt Lake City crew. Joel slumped on a horse and Ellie shooting. Shh. We're going to do our best not to give anything away that happens in the future game. Okay, guys? Oh, that was in the thing. Oh, I did miss that. I'll have to rewatch the trailer. Sorry, Seth. This was so cute. I love this. I loved hearing this little laugh scene between Ellie and Sam. I hate how cute this kid is. It bothers me so much. I love this actor. It was adorable. And I like how out of both of them, like you get these two like parent figures, and it's one of those things, it's like you appreciate the little things in life, right? Like how often do you get to hear these kids laugh? Like they literally are in a situation where they're being shot at and their life is on the line at all times, and they still find little moments to laugh. And I just love that connection. I like that little moment there. The pun book laughs. I know, it's so cute. When I heard that, I should know the actor's name, and I'm so sorry I don't. But Sam here, when I heard his laugh, I was pretty sure. I was like, I believe that actor is actually deaf in real life, which we did find out at the end of this that he is. He's adorable. Yeah, it was a really sweet moment. I'm the collaborator. Hands to the sky. The meeting room is very similar to the game, that room in the game. Yeah. Like when they're kind of figuring things out. Yeah. I agree. Punished. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier, but I kind of felt awkward when he first did this when he was explaining that there's tunnels, like maintenance tunnels that they can use to get out of the city. And Henry made a big point getting Sam's attention and making Sam answer the question of like how we're getting out. And I think the reason for this is because he wants, like, it's kind of like a little quiz, right? Because you can tell that Henry has told Sam everything. Sam is aware of the plan. Sam is aware of what's going on. Sam is not lied to. And it's also one of those things that I think he's kind of proving to Joel and Ellie here, if anything happens to Henry, Sam can still help. Sam's still valuable. Don't leave my brother behind if anything happens to me. Like, he knows the plan. He knows what to do. He's just as valuable as I am. So I think that's why he made a point in getting Sam to answer this question here. At first I was like, that was kind of awkward. Like, why did he make him do that? But like, there's good reason behind doing that. The laugh at the pun book, just like Ellie makes Joel laugh. Yeah, you get those first laughs and you just never hear laughing. And it's really good to have those little moments. Sam and Ellie were too adorable. She got to be a child for a little while with him. I know. And then it also has the immediate instinct to protect him. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Steven. Yep. He's a deaf actor in real life. He should get an award because he is He should get an award because he is outstanding in his field. That's an interesting insight, Kat. Yeah, that's how because when I watched it the first time, I was like, it felt so awkward when he did that. But when I watched it again, I was like, why would he do that? Why do I feel awkward here? And then that's kind of what I came up with. They made Henry's character less protective for Sam than in the game. Henry in the TV show is more focused on the smile on Sam's face. For example, the scene when they play soccer. Yeah, so Diaz, I agree. And that's why I mentioned, like, he gives him that big bag of crayons. But in the game, remember, he wants to grab that little toy, that little thing that just, like, this poor little kid wants. And he's like, no, we only take what we need. And I like the softness from Henry here. I think I understand why Henry was a harder, tougher person. You could go either way. In the game, he was like that. And I can see why he was like that because it's all about survival. This is how he keeps Sam alive. In this, it's more of this, like, protecting innocence, allowing him to be happy. Like, what's the point of living if you're not even enjoying it? Like, if it's an awful thing, right? I thought it was made to relax Joel since Sam was willing to go into the oh, maybe that too. Yeah, okay. They seem to be show Joel much softer at this point in the show than he was in the game. Oh, Joel as well, a little bit. You like, they're definitely giving us glimpses of it a lot more. But you see, he puts his guard back up though again in Ish's tunnel when all of a sudden he's like, I know you are a dad too. I can tell. And then it was just like, this conversation's over. We're leaving. Like, it was like, whoa, wow, just like slam on the brakes there. And then I love. Okay, so this is when we learn about the infected. Literally, like, yeah, there's none on the surface. We just gotta push them underground. Hopefully there'll be I'm sure it's fine, right? It's probably fine. So I like learning a little bit about how Kansas City got rid of these infected, what's going on, which makes sense that, like, obviously it reaches a boiling point where they just boil over out onto the ground, which we'll see later. Like a scarecrow. Get it? He was outstanding. But why scarecrow? Like, I know. Oh, because they say that joke in here. Oh, Rockefeller. I got it. Yeah. Jokes that need explaining are the best. And I thought this was cute. Like Sam's whole, like, what is it? What are they saying? And Henry just answers for them. He's like, yeah, they're going to help us escape. And then he like turns to Joel and he's like, right? And then they turn to Ellie and Ellie's like, right? Like, she doesn't say anything, but she's saying it with her eyes. Like, what is he going to say here? I love how it was just a fun conversation. Again, I like how they do that. Then, okay, so we're immediately just like in the tunnels, right? Like we get a short scene where they're going through the bank. They're like, we can't, we don't want to be seen. He's like, okay, well, the tunnel's here. Let's go. So they go into these tunnels, and we did go into the sewers with Henry and Sam in the game. We get a little bit more time with them, which was fun. And Joel tells her to get her gun out, which I thought this was going to come into play somewhere else. But really, the only purpose for her to put her gun in her pocket in the earlier episode, I thought like something major was going to happen, was literally just for this scene right here, where Joel tells her to get her gun out and she grabs it from her pocket. And she has this, I didn't get it on this clip, but she has this crazy huge grin on her face. And Joel's like, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, it's in your pocket? Because she was supposed to put it in her backpack. But she has this huge smile on her face. It was like one of those things that was just like, they did that literally just for that one little moment to see those two like interact again. And cool. I loved it. Because fungus doesn't like dark places. It's probably fun. Yeah, right? Like, why would it get worse? I don't understand. I'm sure those tunnels could never be filled with stalkers. God, this is a hard part of the game. Henry here was great. Dude, everybody here was great. Look to me for the quotes. You're right, Rockefeller. I should have known better. Oh, Ellie had such a smug look on her face. I know, it was so good. You'll shoot your whole butt off, Ellie. Honest question, did you cry at the last part? Oh, yeah, I did. If you really want to see me cry, watch me play that part in the game. I was a mess. Like, it was awful. I'm laughing at it. It wasn't funny. It was awful. That wasn't funny. Anyways, so this little scene here too I like, because they go into these tunnels and Henry, of course, he's like, so there's not supposed to be infected in here. He's still a little nervous about it, but then he doesn't see infected. Like, they open the door, no infected, and he's like, the plan is good. He's being loud. He's like, yeah, we're clear. And then Joel's like, because like he has no experience with infected. Well, he probably has a little, because he was around. He's older than 15, right? So he knows a little bit more about infected. But ultimately, he doesn't have real experience with infected because he's lived in the quarantine zone, which there aren't any. They pushed him underground. So, like, Joel's like, dude, we don't know that yet. Like, hush, be quiet. Like, Joel is familiar with infected. He knows what to do here. And, like, this, like, little mess up from Henry, I just like, because it just helps back up that Henry needed Joel's help, right? Like, this is unfamiliar territory, both physically and like with the infected. Lots of crying. Damn, Henry, no talking. We are silent. I don't know. I don't cry because of these parts, but I definitely feel bad though. Yeah, I mean, like, they're awful parts. Some people, I think, are more emotional than others in it. It seems like Henry is younger here than the game too, so a bit less mature. Yeah, so I noticed they took out that conversation in the game where Henry is talking about pre-outbreak, and he's talking about riding a motorcycle. Remember that little conversation and like how fun it was to ride a motorcycle? So Henry in the game was I think he was a lot older too, because he was reminiscing about that. And like, he was like in his 20s. This Henry only feels like he's like 17 or 18. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it's interesting here. You don't see any dead bodies. Yeah. So, Drew, I think that's a good point. So this whole area This is like, we knew, right? If you played the game, you're like, oh, it's Ish's place. We learn so much about this society. This society is already dead when we come across it in the game as well, but you read a lot more. You get a lot more clues and context from playing through this part. It was a whole civilization that was living underground. You see their laundry room, their food places, you see their classrooms, the daycare, you see bedrooms and areas, and you do find bodies, which is really terrible because you learn that eventually they did get overrun by infected and they pretty much got cornered. And so some of them did turn, but what happened to a lot of them is they had to barricade themselves in, and they either had the option to open the doors and become infected or, take their lives. And it was awful because the daycare area, you find out in the game that they actually had to kill all the kids in this little society because otherwise they would just turn infected. So it was an awful ending to this place, this zone. I'm kind of glad we didn't get to see those bodies. I think what they did here is they had this scene in here. They had a nice break for the viewers, but they also had the scene in here because the players are like, I know what happened here. Like, and they didn't change what happened here necessarily, but they just didn't give the HBO viewers that information, but the gamer got to know. Yeah, this Henry seems young enough that he would have been a kid in the outbreak, right? Like, not riding a motorcycle. Exactly. He was like 5. Okay. Ish the fisherman. Yeah. Rule 14. Any dead bodies, please clean up after yourself. Don't just slouch around. That's one of the rules. Is that what you're talking about? I don't cry in this episode. More like shocked because it's like a what the F moment. I'll get there, but I think in the game, the words that Henry say and what he does, it's slightly different than in the show. I think it was a little bit more heartbreaking in the game. And I'll tell you exactly why I felt that way, but yeah. So this little house rules thing, this is exactly in the game. It's super cool to see this. This is like how they survive, right? And then you see the little picture of Ish, and I think it's like Bonnie, I want to say. But yeah, it's one of those things where you learn about this whole other society that was doing just fine without Fedra, without like a crazy group, that decided to take over. They were just their own community, doing their thing, living life, and then they got taken over by infected. Yeah, in the game, bodies were everywhere. They wanted the shock of the suicide at the end to be a bigger impact. You think in the show? I miss the Ish. I miss the Ish storyline. I wish we would have seen something about that in the show more than just one drawing. Like I said, and they kind of touched on this in the end. Neil Druckmann kind of talked about it. I think he wanted to keep some of this precious to the player, and not just like reveal everything to the people watching the show, but that didn't play. This was one of those things where it's like, as a player, we knew what happened, and we get kind of that extra background information that the HBO viewers didn't get. And I kind of like a little bit of that piece. Like, it kind of gives more worth to playing the game, and it kind of gives more worth to people who have played the game. So I kind of like it not being in there, but I could see it either way. I'm disappointed he didn't find the gun. Yeah, that was a good gun. Yeah, that's true, Ms. Kat, did you watch the Super Bowl? If so, who did you want? I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't really care who won. As Drew and I were talking about this, the only thing is like, sorry if anyone's from Philly here. Just the Philly fans are crazy. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you want the Philadelphia to win because you think that maybe more people will be, or less people will be injured in riots, or do you think more people if they win? It's one of those things where I didn't watch any of it though. I didn't see it. Ish had kegs. I saw that just on this clip. I was going to just talk about it, but yeah, there's kegs there. So Uncharted 3, guys. Okay, here's the deal. I'll just talk about this real quick. I'm so sorry about the Uncharted stuff. I had so much stuff going on that a lot of the times you guys, I can't share with you, but I had so much stuff going on. I will be working on that edit today. I'm so sorry for the delay. Just, there's been stuff going on, but I apologize. I'm going to get back to that very soon. I just hope the ball is happy. I Cat can't say miss normally anymore. I know, it's all messed up. The ball is oh, the ball. You mean the soccer ball? So yeah, so here's that picture a little closer. Which is this picture actually in the game? I can't remember. I know we get the notes from Ish all the time, but I don't know if this exact drawing is in the game. I have to leave. Oh, Rockefeller, no worries. Marlene's final scene. Marlene's final scene? You mean Kathleen? No problem. Thanks for understanding, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. This whole scene's cute. So, by the way, guys, in the game, this, like, artwork on the wall is almost exact. These tables are exact. Like, they did a really good job recreating this, as they have been doing with this show. Like, there's little parts and moments where it's like, holy cow, that was just, like, plucked from the game and put into the show. It's really cool. I thought this was cute, this, like, endure and survive thing, where we actually see one of the, oh, what's the name of the comic book? Starlight? No. Something. I can't remember the name of the comic book. But if you don't know, in the game, you collect those comic books because Ellie likes to read them. It's really cute. It's just like a collectible item. But you get some interaction with her and Joel about them on occasion in the game. So it's neat that they had those in here. And it's really cute that he reads the comics. And reading is one of the ways that these two can connect, right? Because even she's still doing the sounds and like these hand expressions while she's reading the comics whenever she does with Sam. But he's able to read it on his own. And it's a really cool way for them to connect. Yeah, the details of this part was great. Oh, I think it implies that Ish was Fedra in the oh, that would make sense. I didn't think about that. Seth, that's a good point. Oh, I bet you're right. I like that. I think game was more heartbreaking because we see Sam's dealing with death by throwing away his toy. He'd give it up at that moment. Next best moment in the game was when Henry said, Joel, that was all your fault, pointing. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about that. I think it was worse in the game. I do too. I almost forgot her name, Kat. I saw Savage Starlight. Thank you, Seth. Sandwich Starlight. Sandwich bar fight. What's wrong with you guys? Okay. Take your time. Drops videos when you can. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. It's been a roller coaster for me off of this camera, okay, with that Uncharted video. This conversation, so we get this conversation instead of getting a lot of action that happens in the game, right? In the tunnels. In the tunnels, we come across, I'm assuming, some of these inhabitants of these tunnels, because we come across a lot of stalkers. Hold on. What did I just do? Those are family pictures. Please hold. What the heck? Hold on, please. One second. Oh, now I'm gone. Please hold. There we go. Sorry, guys. Yeah, family. It's okay. You guys can see family pictures. Oh, I went way too far. We've gone too far. Whoa. I wasn't paying attention. Spoilers. Okay. So. Pedro looking kind of fine in the shot. I accidentally hit my gaming pad. You edit your videos by yourself? Yeah. Well, okay, so my husband Drew is going to take over on some side projects here and there, but mostly, yeah, like all those Uncharted ones, all of the Last of Us ones, those are all me. They take forever. Nate, stop doing drugs and slapping people with fish so Cat can edit. Been worse than my family photos. Oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. He said that after he shot Sam. Yeah, so We'll talk about it. But okay, so we don't get this conversation here. It's really interesting. In the game, we actually get a moment we get separated again from. So in the game, there's two separations. Joel and Ellie get separated from Henry and Sam. We kind of see what happens there. And then what's really interesting, and I loved that this happened in the game. In the game, you get Joel and Sam stuck literally on one side of a door, and Henry and Ellie stuck. So these two are split, so you still have 2 and 2, but it's all mixed up, which is really interesting, provides a different dynamic. Now Joel has to protect Sam, and he's hoping that Henry can protect Ellie, but also kind of knows that Ellie can protect herself. So really cool in the game. I like how it's different, so if you play the game, it's totally worth it. You get some creepy stalkers that you have to deal with. I see you cheat on Overwatch 2. Aimbot? Really? Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Have you seen me play? Have you seen my SR? You think I play that? You think I have aimbot? Oh, gosh. I have not finished playing Uncharted 3. Yeah, I have aimbot. That's absolutely. Why do I still suck then? I don't understand. Still seen from a game was more impactful for me. Still seen from the game was more. Oh, the in the game was more impactful. Yeah, it was kind of hectic and crazy. I don't know about you guys. I know I was, and the people I was watching this with, we were all really surprised at how quickly they got through these tunnels. Because when you're going through the tunnels in the game, it's like a thing. Like it's a whole playthrough of like you're dealing with all sorts of infected, and it's kind of wild. But anyways, I really liked learning more information about Henry, exactly what happened with Sam, why Henry did what he did and turned Kathleen's brother in. And we learned more that like Kathleen's brother actually sounded like he was quite amazing, because even Henry said here, he's like, you know, that type of man that you would follow anywhere and you would do anything for? Now listen, Sam, I'm your dad now, and we don't bring up Tess. Matter of fact, let's keep our histories to ourselves. Yeah, they were just in and out. I like the detail though. So I have a question for you guys. So Henry is like talking about this individual who's Mike, who's Kathleen's brother, saying he's an amazing man. He would do anything for him. He would have followed him. Joel almost looks like he's thinking like, yeah, I know a man like that, but I couldn't think about who he would think about that, unless he's thinking about Sarah, because he says, always trying to see the positive in people, always trying to do the right thing. And this is about Mike. And Joel kind of looks to the side, and it almost looks like he's thinking about someone else here, but I couldn't think about who he might be thinking about. In only Sarah. What do you guys think? It's okay, because my aim is always horrific, so I find that funny, G. Tommy? See, but here's the thing about Tommy, is like, Tommy, and like we even learned it in the trailer for the next episode, right? Tommy didn't do good things. Tommy wasn't a good person to follow. Tommy made mistakes just like Joel did. And like Tommy has regrets. So I couldn't justify it being Tommy. Tommy's one of those people that wants to be a hero, but always went about it in the wrong way, I thought. Maybe he was thinking of Tess? But see, same thing. Like, she did so many bad things, too. I don't know. The way he's contemplating here, it felt like he was thinking about someone. That was just me. So we learn about Kathleen's brother. He seemed freaking awesome. And then we learn what Henry did. And again, I shouldn't say throw this in our face, because they touch on this all the time. This whole show is about, is it right to do anything to protect the ones you love? Is it okay to murder for the ones you love? Is it okay to rat out on the ones for the ones you love? Like, where's the line in life anymore, right? Like, everybody's thinking with their hearts instead of their mind here, and this is going to come up. It's come up so much in this show, and it's going to keep happening. And there's a very obvious reason for that we'll learn. Um, is this all caught up? Uh-oh. Anyways, okay. Maybe Eugene? I hear they got into some real messed up. Eugene, I forgot about Eugene. I don't know if this is caught up. Oh, there we go. He spoke somewhat despairingly about Tommy's idolism last episode. He admires him. Okay. Yeah, it definitely could be Tommy. Joel doesn't respect Tommy, but he's family. I think they're focusing on the theme that the show game is more about people than infected. In the game, there's a moment where you are just focusing on staying away from bad people more than infected. Yeah. And he did most of the things under Joel's direction, and he regrets it. That's true, Steven. Back. Hey, babe. Okay. Maybe Joel was reminiscing on some part of his past, who he was before he lost Sarah and the outbreak happened. Maybe. Anyways, what we did learn, though, here, right, is Henry 100% sees himself as a bad guy, which is so sad. Like, but he doesn't care. Kind of like Kathleen doesn't care, right? Kathleen knows she's a bad guy, too. Henry believes he's a bad guy here. But they both still continue down this path because they'd rather be the bad guy. Like, okay, so Henry'd rather be the bad guy so Sam doesn't have to be. And Kathleen wants to be is fine being the bad guy because she lost the most important person in her life. So I just think that's really interesting. I think it's really sad that Henry views himself this way, but it just adds more weight to Henry isn't here to survive. Henry is still around because he wants Sam to survive. Yeah, it's spoilery, so I won't say it here. Okay, hopefully next episode then, Punished. Joel would never blindly follow Tommy, especially now. Yeah. There's so many options. Who knows who someone like Joel would look up to? Yeah. Or maybe Joel couldn't relate. Maybe that's what that look was. Like, no, I don't know anybody with that good of a heart. I don't know. Okay, this whole scene, we get Kathleen in her bedroom from her childhood. We learn a lot more about Michael, and how he always protected her. She can't live without him, right? Like she's nobody without him. She believes that, and she's incomplete without him. So this just is more on the whole thing of like why she's doing what she's doing, why we don't like her, why we don't feel sorry for her. Even so, she talks to Perry and she's like, I know I'm not doing the right thing. If you're here to tell me I'm not doing the right thing, or that Michael would have said this isn't the right thing, I already know that. She already knows all these things. Like there's no reasoning with this woman anymore. She is gone. I completed the Last of Us Part 1 game 100%. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, Irving, in that case, yeah, like we'll talk about the game, but we just don't want to talk about what happens in the future of the game because it'll ruin the show for people. So feel free to join us on that. Gotta go. Bye, Rockefeller. If they don't give us more Joel backstory before Outbreak, I'm going to scream. I don't think they will. Why? What are you looking for, Taylor? Henry and Kathleen may be bad guys, but Henry chose peace and wants to leave. Kathleen chose violence. Exactly. Yeah, they're different. They're different people. Yes, we did know that, Diaz. Yep. It's super awesome. I know, like, every time I call him Perry, people are like, you mean Tommy? And I'm like, yeah, Tommy. Could be, too, that Joel would never blindly follow someone. That's a good point, Miz. Like, that look is like, no, not really. Or maybe it's fear that's how Ellie looks at Joel. Like, maybe it's Joel being concerned, like, Joel doesn't think he's a good guy. He thinks he's a bad guy or whatever, too. But he's worried that maybe Ellie will just blindly follow him. So that's some concern, too. I mean, 20 years in the apocalypse, is anyone reasonable anymore? Right? Like, that's a great question. So I think it's really interesting to learn, that this character, Kathleen, there's no rooting for her. And like, there's no happiness for her. It doesn't matter what happens here. She's she's gone, right? Like, killing Henry is not going to fix her. She doesn't even really want to be the leader. Like, you get that. I got that feeling that she doesn't even really care about being the leader. She just needs an army, right? So she's not, I'm the leader of the resistance. It's like, no, you need people. You need an army to literally just do one thing, and that's take out Henry. I'd be really curious to know if she did take out Henry, let's say, or like, let's say she found Henry dead. What would have happened to these resilience, these fighters here, like the hunters? I feel like she would have just been like, done, bye, don't care anymore, do what you want. Like, I'm pretty sure that would have been her attitude. This character foreshadows Ellie in part 2. It kind of does. That's a really good point, Drew. That's Joel's couldn't relate phase. Or maybe it's because some part of him wants to be that type of person for Ellie, someone he could look up to and learn from. Maybe. Sarah's family, possibly wife, girlfriend, Sarah's mother. I always got the feeling that Joel and Sarah's mother weren't really like soulmates in any way. Like, kind of like had a kid young, didn't really get along, broke it off. I don't think Sarah's mom was somebody that Joel ever really like cared wasn't in his life anymore. I could be wrong. Sorry, Taylor. You're talking about more you want to see. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, some information like that. I think the relationship between Ellie and Joel goes way too slow to suddenly blow up. Anybody feel that way too? To suddenly blow up. I like how slow their relationship is. Like, you get these key moments, and it happens here too, right? Okay, so first off, sorry, this is so dark. It's just really dark in the show. This house is exactly like we experience this as the gamer. When we get out of the tunnels, we have to go with Sam and Henry and traverse through this little neighborhood where there is a sniper in this building. They are not connected to the hunters. When we go through this, there's no one specifically looking for Sam and Henry. That's their mashup name, Ham. So that threw me off so much. Anyways, so when we're playing this part, there's a lot more people here that you have to kill and shoot because it's a shooting game, whatever. And you have to work your way up to the sniper. You have to carefully get there without being sniped and killed. You get to the top and there's just a guy there. You take a sniper, very much like in this. However, in this one, what we learn is that guy is on radio with Kathleen, which is cool. I liked how they connected this whole city with this scene. High school accident since Joel never went to college. Not really, in my opinion, because Ellie gets super attached to Joel very fast. Yeah. And I think these little moments that we have, like how Cheat was saying, like you see these like cracks in Joel's hard exterior in this a lot, which says a lot because he's been through 20 years of not caring about anybody really. Like he cared for Tess, but not like he wouldn't really open up to her. But we keep seeing these little cracks in Joel now, which are a bigger deal. Like even though they seem minor, it's a huge deal. And that's like showing that like a very big connection to Ellie. Like that he does actually care for her. And we see it here too when he's protecting her with the rifle. Oh, yeah, that's true, Punish. Well, if the place is an analog for Pittsburgh in the game, then it could be taken that in this time they just because like that ruefully defending turf. Yeah, that's true. We lost a lot of scenes when trust was building between Ellie and Joel slower. I don't know. I don't feel like it's moving too slow. That's for sure. Because I think it shouldn't be a quick thing. Like this is tough for Joel. Joel's kind of like resisting it. Like he doesn't want to care for somebody else. Like if you care for somebody else, you get hurt. Like that's his mentality with everything now. So I definitely don't think it's too slow. Okay, so really cool, the sniper scene. So yeah, so we find out, when we came into this room and it was like this old guy, like I was like, who the heck is this guy? Like why, what is going on? But then we find out he's connected with Kathleen. And then we hear that Kathleen and her entourage are on the way. Very scary. It doesn't show a massive change until winter in the game, until Joel. Yeah, that's true too, Miz. I think so. Yeah. Okay. So, this is cool. I just took a picture of this real quick because we have Joel with his sniper and we get to do this in this room. And it's really, this is like one of my favorite parts in this game, by the way. I really like this sniper part in the game. And it's very, it has some similarities, but it has crazy differences. The similarities are you are shooting, trying to protect Sam and Henry and Ellie, kind of moving forward to get to the house that you're in. I think you accidentally skimmed that. I might have skimmed it because you were answering Diaz. So as long as he got his info, that's good. I shouldn't be fast travel. They traveled for a year in the game. Hard to do this in 9 episodes. What's crazy is we skip so much time in the game, though, believe it or not. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of this, but like a lot of time does get skipped. I feel it's kind of fast personally. You feel that them connecting is too fast? I disagree. And I just talked about that, like on why I think it's the perfect amount. Like I like these little cracks that we're feeling, like and like seeing from Joel, and these little connections and this trust thing, and what is being trusted and what's not. Like Ellie with a gun, and like him telling Ellie to arm herself in certain situations. I think it's very well paced with their relationship so far. Before the scene, Ellie just turned from Baby Yoda to Atreus. Yeah. They use the same reload sound effect from the game. It's probably the real sound of a rifle, right? So like it's just like it's an actual sound, like it's a legit. No, I was clarifying to his point to you, Kat. Okay. I think we're all on the same page. Like I get it. And like Diaz understood and he said good point, right? So we're all good. I appreciated the unlimited ammo in this part. Dude, do you like how his gun jammed in this though? That was interesting. You never see Joel kill on screen. The only time is when Ellie is next to him. They always cut to Ellie when he kills. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I guess so. Well, also you have to think. In-game, you had a timed skip from Pittsburgh until Wyoming. Exactly. And in this, it skipped from Boston to KC. Yes, which is a freaking long time. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, for where we are in the story, the relationship is correct. But it would be good to have like 12 episodes to get here slow. I mean, I think we all agree that like more of this show would have been ideal. Like, I think we're all on the same page that like if this season was like 4 more episodes longer, I think we would have all agreed that we would have enjoyed that. Where they put that extra time is that's where like conversation can happen. But I don't feel like their relationship is moving too fast. And I feel like when they do make small connections, they're subtle but meaningful. That's what I'm saying. And I think that subtle, meaningful little connections, like a little spark, I think those are perfectly done. I like them a lot. As a shower viewer, it feels too fast because I was used to it being Pittsburgh. I'm gonna head out, Kat. Bye, Miz. Have a good day. Oh, a show viewer. Oh, the unlimited ammo in the game is so important. I know, yeah, I agree. But it takes you get one shot and then it's like reload. One shot, reload. So you like still like you're feeling super pressured. So like the pressure comes from time instead of like ammo amount, right? It was I loved that part. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Bye, Miz. Have a good one. Okay, so this scared the heck out of me. I don't know about you guys, but like, so in the game, we get infected coming down the street, right? And so like you're shooting no, sorry. Initially, you first get like mobs of people that you're shooting. You're shooting these mobs of people, protecting Sam, Henry, and Ellie. Then one tank comes. Just one tank. This scared the heck out of me. I was like, that's a lot of cars. Like, there's no way. Because you end up taking down this tank by shooting the guy that comes out the top. And it, like, starts a huge explosion, which is cool because there's an explosion. There's, like, a crash and I think there's an explosion in the game. There's definitely a crash into one of the houses in the game, which is cool because it happens in here, sort of. I think they showing Ellie's weird infection to its guns and killing scene with the infected and guns pointing in the mirror, Ellie, to create a foreshadowing carrying to grow. We talked about this a lot, Diaz. So I kind of have like shifted gears on that a bit. Ellie, initially I thought like there was way too much obsession with the gun thing with Ellie. And there was like some weird obsession with her like wanting to kill the infected. I've kind of eased up on that a bit because I think a lot of that has been answered. I don't think she has an obsession with guns. I think she just wants... There's regret from her past, which if you played the games, we know from the DLC on why there's regret there, and that she couldn't do anything. So I think the gun in her mind is a symbol of, I'm more independent. I can make a difference. I can protect people. Not just herself, but she can protect people she's with a gun. That's why she wanted a gun so bad. So I shifted from that mentality, especially since we saw some more loving sides of Ellie where she is heartbroken about like the people who were mass murdered because they wouldn't fit in the quarantine zone, or like she has these moments where she's like, there is like a lot of love and connection towards people. The infected that was trapped in the basement, I think is because she literally has something out for infected because of what has happened in her past. So I've shifted from that pretty big. Where the relationship, gotta remember we have 4 episodes left. Right. 4 doesn't seem like enough. It's freaking me out. I will never understand why the TV shows are so short, especially when they're going to release them weekly anyways. I can have an entire essay on why more episodes are important. Yeah. The show sequencing generally follows what happens in game. The tank blowing up and crashing attracted the infected. Yep. Hey, Moose. So anyway, so that's what I was gonna get at. So initially we're killing like people, right? Then the tank comes. We shoot that, it like crashes into a building. So you just confirm there is an explosion which attracts infected, and then the infected comes. So now you're shooting infected in the game. This was crazy though. The amount of cars here, I was like, what the heck is going to happen here? I don't know. There's too many cars. But I really thought this was cool because this was like the perspective that we kind of got as the gamer. You got to look down at the street, you got to see the kids running, and you got to see the car coming. So that was cool. Oh, can we just take... I'll wait. So then we get this huge explosion, right? Craziness, which we know leads up to the weakened state of the ground where the infected could get out. So this noise clearly called all the infected that are underground to that area anyways. And it was just a matter of time until it collapsed, weakened, and then they could get out. That plot hole in the game, how the truck got there, if the bridge was out, that's a big river to cross. I think they just know another way around, right? It's like their city. I'm sure they know another way around. Protected by having a gun, such an American thinking. That's not an American thinking. Like that's a post-apocalyptic thinking. Like, what would you rather? I mean, like, it's one of those things. She's a child. She needs a weapon. She has one little blade that she constantly is fiddling with because this is her only means of protection. She wants a gun because I think in her head, if she would have had a gun in the past, maybe that thing that happened in the past wouldn't have happened. I think that's what the mentality is. People are protecting themselves everywhere with guns in this now world. I don't think this is an American thought. Like, I think that's just a common idea that you would have in this situation. I think the basement infected, she was also wanted to test what it means to be infected. She cuts them. That too, like how much, and it comes with what Sam says too, like how much human's still in there, like when there's like barely any blood. Yeah, and we already talked about that, and if you guys want to go into that a little bit more, like we went into that in depth, I think, on that episode. And the huge truck in front with the plow gives us an idea on how Fedra cleared the highways, right? Why are there so many cars parked here? Well, this isn't a highway, right? Like this is, I don't know why there's so many cars, but like this place wasn't cleaned up. Like this place wasn't being used. This is outside the city. So Fedra wasn't really monitoring this area. This was outside of the quarantine zone walls. And it was just like a little less cleaned up. Okay. So we get this scene where freaking Kathleen has Henry, Sam, and Ellie cornered behind this car. And we'll go over this again, but she knows. Like, I didn't think I was like, maybe when she hears on why Henry did what he did, she'll have some type of sympathy. None. Zero. She does not care. She has no heart left. Absolutely none. She's like, I know what you did. And then she has this terrible speech of like, did it ever occur to you that maybe he should have died? And like, you know, Henry's response of like, he's just a child. And then her response is like, kids die all the time. Like, she's evil, right? Like, you have to be able to sympathize with people, especially as a leader. Like, again, this just puts like more emphasis on the fact that she should not be in a leading position. She's just using these people. She's gone mad. She's crazy. She can't live without her brother. This is what she's doing. There's no reasoning with her, and there is no like, there's no way to like understand. Like, you can understand what she's doing, but it's really hard to back. It's just, it's not a major street, right? Like, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Yeah, I'm British and I'd want a gun in the apocalypse, mate. Actually, I'm with Joel. Glad that he didn't give her a gun sooner. More safe. Well, he tried, but like, it's one of those things, like, you can't, like, just like Henry can't really protect Sam by not telling him the truth about things. You can't do that. Like, you want to be able to do that with these kids, right? You want to be like, no, you're too young for violence. We're not going to let you have to worry about that. The problem is they do have to worry about that. They're in situations where they can't be protected, when they have to rely on themselves. And if they have to rely on themselves, you want them to have the resources and the education to do so properly and safely. So it's really one of those topics where it's like, what is right here? Should you give them a gun and teach them how to use it properly? Or should you try to like just protect them and like keep them out of all this mess? Like, can you do that? I don't think you can. Like, maybe, like, I would say the best example of like, yes, you can do that would be Ish's community underground. And we all know how that turned out. So it's a lose-lose situation. She is so cold-blooded. Her speech was totally effed up, but it's perfect for her, right? Like, and like I said, this actress, she did not like Kathleen either. She's like, no, this lady, she's never going to find peace. Like, I liked it. She did a great job. I eat kids for breakfast, Henry. They're delicious. Oh gosh. Every pointing their guns over the guy with the gun in the first place. Okay. So, this whole scene, like, it was driving me nuts, and other people were saying it too, but it was like, freaking shoot her, Joel. Shoot her, Joel. Like, everybody's like, just shoot her. Can't shoot her. He can't even, if you notice, he can't even look out the window because our freaking military smart guy Perry here he's focused on Joel. If Joel peeks his head, Joel's getting shot. So he's protecting Kathleen here, which he has done time and time again. And of course he does it at the end here, but he just keeps protecting Kathleen. This is why I think, like, another thing, I think he at least really cared for Kathleen's family, right? Also, he was in contact with her mom. So he has a connection with Kathleen's family, whether it was with her brother or what. He's really committed to doing what she needs. The reverse of time of day from the game, the scene was pure dramatic. Oh, I wanted to mention, where is it? Oh, just like any of these shots, honestly, I agree, but I love it, Diaz. Like, or not, was it? Oh, sorry, Seth. I love it. I love the lighting in this whole scene. Like, if you just take a moment and just appreciate the cinematography in this and the lighting, I'm such a big fan of it. You have the lights from the trucks, like the big floodlights on. You've got the warm hue of the fire in the corner. I love the lighting on this scene. I was very happy with it. Kathleen is what I like. Yes and no. I would argue that, but there's definitely moments for that. Tommy's a better sniper. Tommy's definitely a better sniper than Joel. Absolutely. I was thinking of that when he was trying to shoot that woman. I'm just like, dude, if this was Tommy, that girl would have been out already. Had to let Henry talk it out. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so we learn all this stuff, and then of course everybody pretty much gets distracted by the real threat in this world. We always, like, it's one of those moments where you kind of forget what the real threat is, and the real threat is the infected. You wish that all of humanity be working together. Like the war should be like humans against infected, but we know that that's not what happened in this world, and we know that that's probably not what would happen in real life either. You've got all this fighting and all this war on one side, like between each other, and then you have this whole group, this whole literal horde of people, mob, that just is the real issue here. And sure enough, that's what takes over here, which was really fun to watch. This little this overflow of infected was really cool. I liked it a lot. The imagery of Kathleen standing in front of a burning ruins as she literally burns her resistance to the ground is effective yeah, exactly. And I think that's really important too. Like, again, she has her back turned towards where the infected come from. Like, she already turned her back on like the real problems. She already turned her back on that pit that Perry was warning her about. She's already physically here, she has her back turned towards the real problem. So Tommy having a big part later in the show, since y'all talking about him, huh? Tommy's a very important character. Yeah, he's good part. You have to take cover. Oh my gosh, the part before you get the sniper, Irving. Yeah, I failed that one a couple times. I took this screenshot I took literally just from the lighting because I love it. I think it's so good. I love the warm hue of the fire, the lights from the trucks, the actual the flashing from the guns. I just take a moment to appreciate it. I just think it's super, super neat. You also get the same type of street dynamic that's in the game where it kind of goes off to the right hand side. I just didn't want to overlook that. I appreciated it. It felt like that zone in that area. Oh, I played this game a ton of times, and the horde startled you. Yeah, it was kind of terrifying, right? They do act a little different in this game, but I think this is a cool little change here. Her back was turned on everything but her mission. Yeah. So, this part was fun. It was really cool. And then we get our bloater friend, who we knew was coming. I was so excited. I like this because I like how there's just one bloater, and he kind of is the leader of these infected. And not really, right? But kind of he's the one big baddie that has his whole army. And I just think that was a fun mirror of Kathleen and her army. It was just who's stronger now, Kathleen? They're a good shot. Oh my gosh, yeah, I really like him. This part was so cool though. This bloater, the audio of the bloater, his look, his strength, very much like the game. He looked awesome. I saw in the after the episode behind the scenes stuff, this was just a full out costume. This is what this guy looked like on stage or on set. Freaking amazing work with costuming. Loved it. I realize I'm super behind on chat. I'm sorry. Bloater. Yes. Were all the infected clickers? No, there were clickers. They were all of them. I don't know if there was stalkers. It's kind of hard to tell with the stalkers. It would have been cool if the bloater was Mike. It wouldn't have been enough time. It's just how would we know? It just as a name tag. Mike. That's Mike. That thing was terrifying. That thing is terrifying in the game. So yes, they did a great job. Perry got what? Oh my gosh, the death scene. Yeah. Okay. If they could develop that fast, that would suck. So I love this because Perry is just so fearless. He sees that bloater and most people will be what the, what the hell is that? But Perry, he goes into fighting mode. He's not even, he doesn't show any type of fear. It was really, I like Perry. I wish Perry had more story, but also his death was really cool. No, so the bloater is actually introduced in Billstown, believe it or not. You're trying to get a car battery. You go inside of a school building and you find a bloater in the gym, and it's terrifying. Yeah, let's talk about the child jumping cheat. I want to hear what you guys. That he will rip Tommy's head off. Hello, my name is Mike. Yeah. so Perry is Bill. A little bit, yeah. So again, this is the last time we get to see him do freaking everything for Kathleen. Why? I don't know. I don't like how he'll do anything from Kathleen. I don't need that story, but I feel bad for Perry because I think Perry's very lovable and Kathleen is very hateable. So it makes me sad. But here's what like Cheat was saying, like she literally had her back towards the fire. And we've been saying that she has her back towards the real problems. Then she has it, like he said, fine cover, don't look back. And I know he says this, but it's like, this is the one person that actually cared for you. And she literally doesn't look back. Like, I thought that was just a terrible way to remember Perry. I think she's just, like, I already hated her. And I was like, well, maybe she has a little bit of love for Perry. It's like, nope, she still doesn't care. She didn't even look back for Perry. I don't like her. I know we're not supposed to, but I don't like her. So what we get to see in the background here, and this is really cool as a player, is the way the bloater kills. The way the bloater kills Perry is the way you die if you die to the bloater. He literally takes between your mouth and your jaw and just rips your head face off. It's awful. It's so graphic. You actually don't, it goes black before you fully see it, but you know what happens. And I like how you don't really get a clear image of it either. It's you know, in the background there, it's blurred, but you do know what happens. And I mean, like, if you were going to die, like in this show, I think Perry got the coolest way. Like that, Tommy's voice actor got the coolest way to die. That was pretty sick. The funniest part about the bloater was when we were all watching is all of us were cheering for the jaw rip. I know. I think of the stalkers being identified as having stuff growing out of nose, but not covering both eyes. Right punished, which I have a picture for here because I want to argue that this child was not a stalker. She was a clicker, which makes me, we're gonna get there, which makes me mad. But here. A runner is stage 1 of infected, stalker stage 2, clicker stage 3, bloater stage 4. Shh, no spoilers. No, I would say, what's the ones in Seattle? Past the bloater. I can't remember their names. Maybe different. You all hate this woman too much. She is on a mission and doesn't deviate. She doesn't deviate. That's actually a really good point. I hate her mission though, but she's freaking dedicated. Now, what's the other one in Seattle? You guys are forgetting the other one. Okay. So Ellie, okay, I want to mention too, while this is all this chaos is happening, Joel is like, who is he watching? He's watching Ellie. He's not watching Sam or Henry. It's the same thing like as in the game. Like, Henry would have helped Joel if it would have made it so Sam wasn't in danger, but he didn't get that option, so he just cares about Sam. He left Joel to fend for himself. Kind of the same thing here. Joel's protecting Ellie by sniping, not protecting Sam and Henry, because if he has to make a choice, he's going to pick Ellie. Ellie sneaks her way into a vehicle, which the window's too small for most people to get through. But then we have this kid. Scramblers. Shamblers. It's not scramblers. Shamblers. There we go. Shamblers. The ones in part 2 you're thinking of are offshoot between clicker. That's what I thought. They're like a different version, right? Depends on their surroundings, I guess. Bloaters are still, but wouldn't you like to see that fight? Wouldn't you like 3 bloaters against, or like 1 bloater against like 3 shamblers? Sorry. Perry wasn't played by Will Forte. The child clicker was a shock to everyone because there was no child. Okay, so I'm okay with, okay. I'm on the fence about there being a child clicker. It makes sense. Like, why would the children not, like, it's not like they wouldn't have the opportunity to turn in a clicker. But that kind of, that's interesting, like, just science-wise. I'm wondering, like, okay, well, if somebody was infected at the age of 14, became a runner, I guess their bodies don't age. So they'll still have the body of a child, which I can get behind, I guess. Like, they've been underground for 15 years. This 14-year-old child has the body, like, the shape of the size of a 14-year-old, but technically has been alive for probably closer to like 30 years. I'm fine with that. That looks like a clicker to me. I couldn't find any shot where you could see her eyes. She also clicks when she enters. So she kind of peeks in, and then she does the like sound, right? Which would be the audio reverb she's looking for to see if anybody's in here. I also kind of have a problem with her being in here in the first place. Like, if she can't see, why would she go in here? Like, there's so much chaos. There's so much other free game out there to go fight for and to eat. Why go in the car? I don't know. I didn't like her. Bloater versus Shamblers, right? 15-foot leap ability was a... Hold on, was there? Yeah, she's a clicker. See? She's a clicker. Okay. So the body movement of clickers are way more rigid, stiff, in my opinion. Like, there's way more fungus in them. There's way more less, in my opinion, agility. There's so much more agility in a stalker than there is in a clicker, which makes sense. Like, these are older infections. There's more fungus. There should be less mobility. I didn't like it. I'm just going to come out and say it. I didn't like her agility in this. I'm fine with it being a kid. I just don't think the movement fit a clicker. You need to be infected for 2 to 3 years in the game. At least, I think. The only reason I don't like calling her a clicker is they aren't showing a leaping in the game. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like it. I just think... So the monsters have an evolution chain? Yes, absolutely. They have stages. Like, so you can actually see the stages when a runner... And I think it depends on, like, environment, but, like, this fungus kind of takes over your body. It takes different amount of times. There's no, like, set time. But if the conditions are perfect, it'll take over, and then you literally, like, you almost, like, cocoon yourself against a wall, Lynx, and you will, like, it's crazy. Like, there's all these different stages to things. But there's not, like, a definite time between them. If... It really seems like someone's kid. Like, that's kind of what I was feeling too. It's like, oh, there's this kid. She does gymnastics. Put her in. And I'm sorry to have such a bad attitude about it, but that's kind of like, it just felt so out of place. I'm fine with it being a clicker. I'm fine with it being a kid. Why the movement? Why this weird, like, gymnastic-y movement? Like, she's a kid. She's flexible. Like, no, that's not... She's a contortionist in real life. Exactly. Like, I could tell like they tried to emphasize that. Like, I don't care what she does in real life. Why is a clicker doing this? So anyways, so we get the scene, Ellie gets out, and then I just wanted to point, like, this was easy to miss, like, kind of skip over in the game. This was easy to kind of skip over in the show. We have Henry and Sam stuck under a car where they're clearly being attacked by clickers. This is where Sam gets his bite, unfortunately. So totally sucks, but this is where it happens. A stalker clicker. So we get... They all three find each other, and then they run up to the building where Joel is, and they're, like, just trying to run. And then here's Kathleen, again, her back turned to the real danger, right? Back is always turned to the real danger. And we get this kid stalker, clicker. She's acting like a stalker here because she's hiding. Like, clickers wouldn't hide. She doesn't need to pounce. They can't see. Clickers can't see. Why would they hide? Why would they... I just didn't like it. I thought this was so bad. I like that Kathleen died to infected. I just don't like the movement of this child. I didn't find it creepy. I thought it was cheesy. This felt like a raptor. Like, it was like some weird Jurassic Park scene. And he's like, nah, clever girl. And that's what happened. And I didn't like it. And it looked super fake. Clicker is a stage when usually people die, then they grow into the walls, then environment is a good host, can survive, and goes into a bloater state. Yeah. Yes. I don't know. Am I the only one that really feels this way? Like, I'm trying to be, like, open to, like, the changes and stuff, and, like, being like, yeah, it just wasn't my thing. This one, like, I really didn't like. I really didn't like the way this kid moved. Raptor clicker. It's a licker from Resident Evil. That's kind of the feeling it gave too. I just didn't like this supernatural, like, the human body doesn't leap like that. Why would a human body with fungus leap like that? It's weird. Why? I'm really mad about this part, but this is the only thing I don't like. I thought it was a dumb change. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Yeah, her leaping like a flying squirrel. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The fungus doesn't give you more mobility. In fact, I would argue it gives you less. I don't care that it was a kid body. It just doesn't make sense. I'm glad Kathleen got her come up and see. Me too. Me too. She didn't use her leap when Ellie was in the car. She just fumbled. I know, she just like, I'm a gymnast, and she like back bends. I didn't like it. Resident Evil, love it. So that's my take on it. I'm glad that she died to a clicker. I don't care that it was a child. I just don't like the movement of it. And that was my take. And then we get the like, we literally get this horde heading to the city. Like, Kansas City is screwed. Like, that's their city now. I think this was a cool shot. You get the bloater in the middle too. Like I said, like, he's kind of like the leader in his army. And that was really fun. So I like this. I thought this was cool. I'm like, this was one of those weird moments when you're rooting for the infected. And I like those moments because, like, that city sucks anyways. You go have it. Take it. Who wants to live in Kansas City? Right, cheat. I was kidding. Okay. And then you get this really cool conversation between Joel on the downtime. You get this conversation between Joel and Henry. And I like this. And they talk about endure and survive in the comic book. And then, these two connecting, which is cool because it's, again, Joel kind of like opening up and connecting. He actually invites them. He officially is like, you can come with us. I think it's funny too that he's like, that's just redundant, right? Like, the endure and survive, just a cute line. I'm curious if, like, they're also kind of hinting at other redundancies in this show and in this game. Like, there's a lot of redundancies, but it's not necessarily redundancy. It's more of like a pattern that we keep seeing. And like these couples, like you have Joel and Tess, and you have Bill and Frank, and you have Sam and Henry, and you have Joel and Ellie. And it's like you get these like things all the time where you can kind of, these patterns. So I just thought that line was cute too. Kids die all the time. That's really what happened. Kids die all the time. Excuse me? You what? And so the big change here from the game is that we learn that Ellie learns that Sam got bit, which in the game, Ellie didn't learn. Sam didn't tell her, and they have this really sad conversation pretty similar to this, where Sam's asking Ellie how much of the person is still inside of this monster. And I think that like Sam was deaf, and like he has this way to like chat with Ellie. It gets to the point really quick and just really just jumps straight to the point. And he shows her his bite, which was, I actually liked more. I think I was kind of sad when Sam didn't show her that, because in the game we get that really sad conversation. Ellie pretty much is like, yeah, no, she doesn't do anything to make Sam feel better, even though she didn't know that he was bit. She doesn't do anything that makes him feel better. And Sam spends a very lonely night by himself. In that scene that Joel said, that was funny or just like sweet? Briefly weird, made it work. Yeah. Conversation was super powerful even with limited words, right? Yeah, I think that's a good point. But in the game, I hated that Sam had those moments alone. I hated that he was worried and he stayed up and he didn't have the comfort of being with anyone. And I'm so glad for this change in here where he shows her, Ellie shows her her bite, and then they have this like thing where, and they confirm, I thought this when I saw it, but it was also confirmed at the end of this episode. Ellie is super desperate to be this like hero that she keeps being told that she is. And so she does what she can to help, because that's all Ellie wants to do, is she wants to be the one that helps people. Like, she doesn't want to see people suffer and die anymore. So it's like, these are her like last ditch effort. Like, please let this work. Of course it's not going to work, but it's one of those things where it was just like, it's so sad. She doesn't want to lose him. So Ellie doesn't give Sam her blood. Nope. So that kind of like freaked us out as viewers for a second. We're like, is this going to work? What the heck? What are they doing here? No, they sleep in different rooms. And she's like, good night, Sam. See you in the morning. And like, Sam's alone. It's awful. Ellie doesn't tell anybody pretty much besides Joel that she's been bit. So her showing this to Sam was a big deal too. She doesn't learn that it's her responsibility to make the cure and go west. Well, that's all that they've been trying to do, is that she's trying to be this cure, right? That's what I loved. So she was there for Sam this whole time. And even if Ellie knew that this wasn't going to work, I really love that it at least gave Sam hope, because I would rather Sam lay there, sit there, at least think in his mind, well, maybe I'm not going to turn. Ellie's here with me. Maybe her cure did work. Maybe I'll be okay. I'd much rather those be Sam's last thoughts than I'm going to turn and die alone. I hate that thought in the game. It's so awful and heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking kid logic, yeah. But like I said, I love that, like, at least Sam... I don't know. I hate this scene. I can understand the knowledge of vaccines fading out in this world because the cordyceps is literally the focus. That's true too. Like, how do you even know, like, how it works? I didn't like that the change with Sam revealing as he did, but I love this spurring Ellie and making her take a mission personally. Like, someone has to stop this yes. And then we get the hug, and I hate these scenes. And I'm just happy that Sam wasn't alone in these moments. Like, he was not alone. I'm getting teary-eyed because I freaking hate this scene so much. So yeah, he wasn't alone. And then she stays with him. And I love this because she probably knows that he's going to turn, but she doesn't care. She'd rather stay with him. And of course, she's got that little protection of, like, he can't really hurt me anyways, but that's still a really brave thing to do. And she stays with him, and he turns. So... oh, I hate these scenes. Yeah, so he changes, which is the same in the show. This whole scene, he jumps on her. I didn't show the scene of him getting shot, obviously. This dynamic here is very similar to the game, but there are some big changes, and I think Henry's part was even more heartbreaking in the game. Usually, it's worse in the show that I've seen. I think it was worse in the game at this part. In the game, there's a slight difference. Joel goes for the gun because he's going to protect Ellie, right? Like, he's like, I'll shoot Sam. He goes back into protective mode. He goes to grab the gun to shoot Sam. And then Henry grabs it to hold up to Joel. Like, Sam's still attacking Ellie in the game at this point. He's like, that's my brother. You know, like, you can't shoot him. That's my brother. And then Joel's like, F it. I don't care. And he goes to grab the gun and to shoot Sam anyways, because he's like, fine, shoot me. I'm going to do what I can to save Ellie. And then Henry turns and shoots Sam because he knows if he's infected, there's no going back from that, right? In the game, Sam and Ellie had a hard talk time. What do you think? And Sam and Ellie, dude, I don't, in the game, it's way worse because, like, Ellie doesn't know, right? So she's kind of blunt with Sam and, like, doesn't give him any hope. I actually like with Sam being deaf and mute because, like I was saying, it was like such little words that were used, but super effective conversation. And it kind of leads to this, like, more private moment between Ellie and Sam where Henry and Joel are just outside the room, but they don't hear this conversation. They don't listen in on this conversation because it's literally a conversation in silence. And that moment ends up being a very private, personal conversation. And I really liked that silence there. And it just let that whole scene kind of, like, be. Like, it had this type of... I wasn't worried at any time that Joel or Henry were going to walk in. You know what I mean? It was just, like, happened. It was between these two kids. Joel also makes a motion for the gun in the show. Yes. Like, I could swear he looked in that direction. So he goes for the gun. Then Henry holds the gun to Joel, and he stops going for the gun, but he's like, fuck it. And then he, like, goes to grab the gun anyways. Then Henry shoots him. But then he has these lines, which I freaking hate in the show, where he's, like, crying. He's like, that's my brother. That's my brother. And I just hated those lines. Oh, my gosh. It's so bad. But then, like, it ends the same way. It had more weight to it. I think so too. I think it, like, happened a little bit faster here. He shoots Sam faster than in the game. And I think that's what it is. Like, it was awful. But then I'm glad they didn't show Henry, like, actually shooting himself. I thought Ellie's reaction, Bella Ramsey's reaction here was really good. And that's all we needed to see. But their story is so tragic. I freaking hate their story so much. More powerful in the game. I think so too. Yeah, I dropped an F-bomb. Yeah, I was quoting them. Emotional scene talks bring emotional bombs. Yeah. This we didn't get in the game at all. So in the game, we get that awful scene. And then it's like, it's fall time. And like, you've traveled so far, so much time has passed. And like, as a viewer, you're always left in this game with like these moments where you're just like, how do I process that? And the game has already processed it. It's already past that. The characters have already processed. You, the player, have not processed it, but time is gone. So it was kind of nice to have this little moment here where it's like, you get to see Joel and Ellie who haven't processed this yet. Like they're working through this and these emotions right now. And I like knowing that they at least got their own graves. I think that was like a nice little like way to remember them. And this little note was so awful. And Joel sees this note from Ellie, and you could tell that Ellie feels responsible for people dying around her. She feels responsible for their deaths. Like, we're going to know that from future stuff, or like past stuff in future episodes. We're going to know that from the DLC. We know that from Sam and Henry. Like, she feels responsible for these people around her, and she feels like she wants to be the person to save them instead. She wants to be the vaccine. She wants to be the cure. Her sorry here is that it didn't work and that she couldn't make a difference in her mind yet. What do you disagree with? Let me see. Oh, I think I missed it. And now Ellie's broken, like Joel. I don't know if it's broken or more of a mission to get to where they need to go. Ellie is showing right here that she really, really, really wants to get to the Fireflies and be the cure. What do we need to do to get there? Let's get there. The more time we waste, the more people die. That's kind of how I took it, but she is broken. They're both really hard to watch. Oh, absolutely. Both of the parts are really hard to watch in the show and in the game. I just think the game was even harder. I think the passage of time helps keep you in the shoes of his mental space. Oh, that's a good point, Punish, of like being more like Joel, of like, we have to move on. Both the game and the show versions are hard to watch. I don't think Kat is saying the show. Yeah, I cried during the show too. I'm in no way saying the show wasn't sad. No way. No, it was awful. It was awful. I'm just saying, like, I felt the weight was a little heavier in the game, believe it or not. Henry doesn't have the words. He doesn't need the words. Look at his face. His face tells everything. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No. He's breaking down. I'm not, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it was different. It was different, and I felt like the amount of time it took Henry to shoot Sam in the game felt like an eternity to me. And it was because he's like weighing this like awful, awful decision that nobody should have to do. And he does. And I just feel like I did not enjoy that part, but I think that was heavier for me. I think it was more emotional for me when I experienced it that way. But both were awful. Ellie just wants, she's like, let's get down to business. Let's get to work. I want to be a cure. The more time we waste, the more people die. Lynx, it's not a superhero action show. It's a drama. Yeah, that's a really important thing to remember, guys. I think a lot of people that haven't played the game and stuff that are here that's like, oh, there's so much emotion, all these side stories and like all this stuff. This is not, like, it is a thriller kind of, but it's not. It's a drama. This story is a drama. So if you get yourself in that mindset, I think you'll be a little bit more accepting of all this other like stuff that's happening. The game's version of that scene resolution did feel right. Like, you were so scared. Like, is he gonna shoot Joel? Is he gonna shoot Sam? What is Ellie gonna get bit? Like, there were too many things happening. And even though I don't know, like, I just felt it was just, like I said, it just was more. It was just different. I liked Henry saying it's all your fault because it was obvious he was talking to himself. I think he says that in both the game and the show, doesn't he? Oh yeah, it's a drama. In every episode, someone dies. Yeah, absolutely. And then you get Ellie walking away, like, right? It's like the same when she was wiping her tears away when she had to shoot that man, when she shot Brian. It's the same thing. Like, you see her just like You got to just wipe the tears away and keep moving forward. And then what I thought was interesting, I didn't catch this when I was watching this, but they did mention it in the post show, the behind the scenes. Joel here is thinking, like, because, you know, like how we talked about the mirroring of these like different partnerships of Henry and Sam kind of mirroring Joel and Ellie. They mentioned that Joel here is like thinking, you know, this is going to be me and Ellie's one in the future. Like, this could easily be me and Ellie, as he's looking at the two grave plots, which I think is an interesting thing, because like all of a sudden now it matters to Joel, right? Like, I never really thought Joel was ever scared to die. He's kind of like Henry in that regard, where it's like all of a sudden now it's mattering more that he at first was like, I need to be there for Tommy, but now it's kind of like colliding with, I need to be there for Ellie. He only said that in the game. Oh, it's a great line. Did he not say it here? It's all your fault. I thought he said it's all your fault in the show. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, and then what have I done? Yeah. Ellie's going to fall in love with the fungus Sauron at the end. God. The song at the end is so beautiful and sad. Fuel of the Fires. Oh, I'll have to re-listen to that one. I knew it was awfully sad, but I didn't know. This is the last clip I have, guys. So we did it. We got through. This was a long stream. It was a big episode, though. I love Sam and Henry. I really hate. I think this is like very much one of those things where I don't want to relate this to Game of Thrones, but like the world is more important, not important, but the world is a bigger play. It has more control over what happens than just like the people. In that, like, it doesn't matter. Like in Game of Thrones, you got that feeling. It's like, it doesn't matter who's supposed to be the main character. It doesn't matter who you really like. That doesn't protect them in any way. And that you kind of get that feeling with The Last of Us. They aren't easy on you as a viewer. They're not like, hey, we know you love these characters. We made you love them. That's why we did it. They don't like give you the protection of like, you love these characters. You know, they're a favorite. We'll never kill them off. Don't worry. Like, you don't get that protection. And I think that's really important to remember, especially when we go into part 2. It doesn't appear in the TV show. Shame. Yeah, that was good writing. It's all your fault. Yeah. The brutal scene kind of gave me time to try to reprocess with them. I was cool with them adding it. Yes. Oh, the burial scene. Burial scene. If they are implying that he is attached now, how are they going to have the big fight in the near future? I don't think so. Like, again, like, Joel's attached, but he's not like attached, right? Like, you can just tell he's starting to care. I don't think it's anything like, oh, this is my daughter now. And they had that moment, right? Like, where they both were like, he's like, man, your dad's like negative. And they both at the same time, it's like, I'm not her father. Or, you know, and she's like, that's not my dad. Like, at the same time, like, they're both like, nope, we're not connected. So, but they can fight it all they want. They're getting connected, right? No plot armor for these guys? Great. Now I'm worried about Joel. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I'm not saying it's exactly like Game of Thrones, but that's how this world is, and it's a harsh world. And I think that's important for us to keep remembering, like, keep like showing us that, like, this is a harsh world. Ed Stark, right? All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for being here for my experiment of the Twitch stuff too. Well, let's see if we can work out some kinks and see if we can make it working in the future. I don't know. But yeah, great episode. Sad episode. We all knew it was going to be sad, but my only complaint so far for this entire series is that little girl's jump. The little clickers jump. I didn't like it. That's my only complaint so far. So overall, the show's doing really well in my eyes. In the game, when you lose Tess, it's like, yo, right? Like, what? Why did we lose her? I thought she was going to be an important part in this. Do you think The Last of Us Part 3 will be sooner than the TV show will end season? TV show will end season. So they already, I was worried about this. I kind of talked about this after the first episode, but supposedly they've already discussed this with HBO, and the HBO show will not continue on. Like, they will not do a part 3 if the part 3 game is not out. Like, they will let Naughty Dog complete and write that story before HBO decides to massacre it. So that's already like kind of like we're good. It was fun. Kind of figured this would go long. We knew, yeah, thanks for hanging out and chatting with me, guys. I feel a bit more positive about it, having heard everyone else's thoughts. That's good. I'm glad. For season 2, yeah. For season 2, season 2 will be, I'm hoping season 2, I think part 2 is going to have to be 2 seasons. I cannot picture them like squishing part 2 into 1 season. There's just no way. The game is like twice as long in general, and we already feel like this one's too short. So the idea of them making that 1 season is just not enough time. Before HBO decides to massacre it, right? All right, guys. Anyways, you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for some Spider-Man if you're around, and if not, that's it. I'll see you next time, okay? And we get back to our normal schedule with The Last of Us too, so that's good. On a serious note, you are doing well with these show streams, covering chat, and getting through it. Hey, thanks, Lynx. Okay, anyways, guys, have a good day. I will see you later.